Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my, please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. Yeah, I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I know that people come to this show for a distraction. We have a fun cast in today. I guarantee you we will be that distraction from what happened over the weekend. But we can't start this show without discussing the tragic events of the weekend. One person lost their life. A couple people are still receiving medical attention, injured from the assassination attempt on former President Trump's life over the weekend. And to say it was jarring to experience all of that, I think is an understatement. I kind of felt numb. Where were you when you heard the news?
I was sitting at home. I too felt numb. You start to ask yourself questions as to how this is happening in 2024. You start to think about the gun laws in the United States of America. You start to think about the Secret Service. You start to think about how lucky Donald Trump is to be alive today. And you wonder and you ask yourself, how could someone get that close with a rifle, with any sort of weapon, to a former president and a guy who is currently running for president of the United States? I was numb as well.
Yeah, I couldn't process all those things all at once. That happened, I guess, in the several hours that followed. It was kind of eerie in that I was leaving the American Century Championship in Tahoe, and I remember when I was in high school, 9/11 happened, and I was trying to piece things together by hearing people talk around the lockers. This was also like pre-smartphones and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And I remember picking up on certain things. And I thought people were talking about how Independence Day was airing on like Network Fox. It was a Sunday night movie. And I thought people were talking about that. And I started piecing together more of this information. It was kind of similar. I was leaving this golf course and I heard people talking like President Trump was shot at. I was like, wait, what? So I X-search Trump shots fired and I see this incredibly strong image of Donald Trump bleeding from the side of his face, holding a fist in the air with the American flag behind him, a really striking image. And I start finding out what happened. And yeah, Stugotz, all the same questions. Like, if a former president is there, this has to be. The Secret Service is there. This is one of the more secure places on the planet. And you realize the shot came from outside the grounds, and you have all these questions. But it was a moment in time. I continued my walk. I got to the casino. Every TV had been either switched to news coverage or the news preempted what was going on.
All the big-time anchors were called in.
Wall-to-wall coverage on this really horrific act. And then the processing starts happening. You try to find out, is anybody injured? Did they capture this person? The world that we live in right now, you start seeing all the misinformation on social media, and you try to parse what's real, what isn't. And then you start processing. And my process was, I understand how we got here. And it makes me like really, really sad. In the last few years, we had what happened on January 6th. We had an armed assailant enter the home of the Pelosi's and try a politically motivated attack that severely injured Nancy Pelosi's husband.
There are things that we have seen recently, both over the weekend and the last 2 years, which I personally thought we'd never see in my lifetime.
Yeah, and now we have this crescendo over the weekend of an attempt on Donald Trump's life. And I think in the days that followed, what really struck me was how normal everything seemed to be afterwards. I thought that this would still be something that everybody's living with right now.
Well, what do you think was going to happen? Like, we were going to cancel sporting events, things were going to, like, what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, because you could see, like, all the sporting events that happened that were on schedule that followed, and you start asking questions. Like, there's no way any of this would be happening if that bullet was a little bit closer to Donald Trump. And I was just really struck by how the world kept moving. And I want to hit pause on that because, no, the world should not keep moving. This is...
Well, Mike, hold on a second, because Trump kept moving.
Well, yeah, Trump...
I believe he played golf yesterday.
Yeah. Trump was pictured at the golf course, which, I mean, people can deal with an attack on their life however they want. One of your supporters is in the hospital. People can parse, like, what the optics are there. That's not... But I do want to talk about the general normalcy that everybody just kind of fell into. And no, we shouldn't be normal. There is a huge, very clear and obvious spike in politically motivated violence. Sometimes it plays out in hate crimes. Sometimes it may play out in hugely toxic rhetoric on your social media. And unfortunately, it's played out now with an assassination attempt on presently the leading candidate for president. And we should do everything in our power to put our foot down and say this should not be normal. This should not be reacted to in the way that it is. We need to, again, it's cliche, but use this as a moment to come together. And I'm a little scared that we're not. And
you're scared because Biden said we need to come together. Trump has said he has scrapped his entire speech for tonight. Republican National Convention, he has scrapped the entire speech. He will talk about unity and dialing it down a little bit and all of us coming together. You don't believe them, is what you're saying. Because you have every reason to be skeptical about that. You do.
I think that so far people are kind of meeting the moment, saying the right things, and sometimes not saying anything is the right thing, especially when you consider some of the track records here. But then I started processing, like, well, what is my role in this? Am I a contributing factor? Am I making the discourse worse? Am I, by calling out things that I see, contributing to a toxic rhetoric? Do I want to kind of publicly check out on all of this? All these questions start popping up. What does this mean for my family? What does this mean for November? Is this going to be worse? Is this the start of something? Because that was a fear that I had, which was also post-traumatic stress from 9/11. Because you start seeing things pop up on social media and you see all this increased security. And I really do hope that it looks like from a tragedy standpoint, we have the one loss of life. The former president is, as you mentioned, playing golf. Hopefully it all ends there and we can all just take the temperature down, dial it back, and realize that we are percolating at an insane place. And maybe, hopefully in retrospect, that's the crescendo and it doesn't get any worse after that. And I really hope the politicians involved take the opportunity to cool everything down, because that was something that doesn't happen here. And if I'm someone from another country...
Happened in the 80s, hasn't happened since Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, well, I was actually reminded of this on social media. Someone threw a grenade at President Bush and it didn't go off.
Right.
I was not aware of that. But I would say that... let's all take the opportunity to realize this needs to cool off. I'm really worried about our reaction to it, almost as much as I was made worried by the attempt. Now, let's talk about the attempt. We know some things about the shooter. Again, this is a very tricky time for misinformation on the internet. But this happened in a state where the shooter got this gun. He's not old enough to rent a car in this state, but he is old enough to procure an assault rifle and take an attempt on the former president's life. And
he can buy that rifle, walk through a field, get to within 160 yards, I guess, of the former president of the United States. He can do that, but he can't drive, he can't drink.
So if I'm saying things like this doesn't happen in our country, and I've seen the perspective of people from outside of our country, and they usually just turn and say, what are you talking about? Of course it happens in your country. look at the last few years, look at your record with gun violence and mass shootings. And that was another thing that I started to process after the initial shock of the attempt on the former president's life is people can't gather and celebrate a common tether anymore without the fear of this. That's supposed to be one of the more secure places on the planet, and gun violence is lapping up upon its shores.
It's because guns are so accessible, Mike, in the United States. So we know that. Like, we've been down this many, many times, and hopefully this will lead to a change in gun laws. But we know it won't.
It won't. Right. It won't.
Yes.
There were, when Sandy Hook was allowed to happen, you realize that we were at the point of no return. This is an attempt on the former president's life. If there's any kind of eye-opening moment when it comes to gun laws, it would be that one. I don't think we're going to see that, but hopefully, again, the former president has been relatively quiet publicly. He's put a couple messages out on Truth Social, but this is an opportunity to do something good when it comes to gun violence. But I don't know how realistic that is. But there is some.
You'll find out tonight, right?
There is some good.
Donald Trump has first crack at kind of uniting the country, uniting the parties. They're never going to agree on everything, but at least they could dial down the temperature a little bit. And Donald Trump has first crack at that this evening.
It's a huge evening for America. I think COVID was another one of these opportunities that the former President Trump had in his past, where he had an opportunity to unify, and the discourse was such that we got just more extreme and more polarized. And I hope that does not happen in the next few days. And I think this is a huge moment in time, and Donald Trump's reaction to it is hugely important. And I hope, for the sake of everybody, we don't make things worse, because that was scary. And you want to lean on, hey, that's not our country. In the last few years, kind of has been. And now we have this assassination attempt, and hopefully it's in our rearview mirror and not something that's predictive for the road ahead. So it's the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz. We got Stugotz back. Dan will be back in tomorrow.
Shocked that he missed today. It's Open Championship week.
Yeah. For what it's worth, Jon Stewart isn't doing his show today. There are logistic issues for the Daily Show. So I know Dan wanted to be here, but I think with the travel coming back from Africa, that was too difficult to task. The plan was always for him to be in tomorrow, so he's going to be in tomorrow, and it's going to be business as usual. It takes a lot to outshine what happened over the weekend in terms of security breakdowns, and Copa America, its final.
They tried.
Hard Rock Stadium, man, they did their damnedest to be the least secure place in America this week. Chris Cody, you were there. I was out there. Terrifying scene. Really scary images. Tons of people got roughed up, and let's get into why this happened, how it happened. Chris, you've been to several events at the stadium.
Besides Miami? I mean,
well, you knew there was going to be a show aspect to this. Once the final was announced, Argentina, Colombia, I was trying to explain to people outside of South Florida what this was. I called it one of the biggest international soccer matches of all time.
You told me it was the biggest.
No, outside of the World Cup,
right?
You could make a real argument that was the biggest soccer match ever. And there were a lot of people, it's like, it's not even the biggest soccer match of the weekend. You got Spain versus England. Shut up. Get-in price was like triple what it was for Euro. I know this market. I know those teams. I know its support. I knew it was going to be something to experience, and thankfully the MLS helped us out, and we were there for it. But driving up, you already knew it was going to be bad news. Chris, you go to events there a lot of times. I'm a Miami Hurricane season ticket holder. I was really concerned when I pulled up and I saw less uniformed personnel than I do for a Bethune-Cookman game establishing a perimeter.
But driving up is when you realize this could be a problem. I could have told you that a week ago.
Well, look, this is a venue, Stugotz, that kind of successfully and quietly has become one of the premier venues in all of entertainment.
Yep.
There aren't places that can host world-class tennis, Formula One, Super Bowls, WrestleManias, Taylor Swift's, college football playoffs, the way that this one has. And it's done all of that without any public scrutiny, without any high-profile incidents. It's always been well organized. And driving up, yeah, I could tell right away that something was different about their setup, and it was not going to be a good thing. Chris, did you have the same experience?
It was just an insane amount of people. The vibes were actually great until you got up to the stadium. Like in the parking lot, in the far parts of the parking lot, it was kind of normal. It seemed really crowded, and I was like, holy shit, everyone's got a ticket to this thing? And the parking lot was like, you can't get into the parking lot without a ticket. That rule was not followed.
No one had a ticket.
But, dude, when I tell you it was legitimately scary, every gate before, like at 7 when they were supposed to open, every gate, the 4 corners, and like the VIP entrances. When I'm telling you, tens of thousands of people pressed up against it as if they were like trying to, like, it was scary, dude. People banging on the glass. Like, I understood why they were like, we're not opening this. And like Mike said, there was no barrier. So it was one of those things where as soon as they opened the door, they got bum rushed. The employees at that point were probably told, don't fight it. Just like, what are you going to do at that point? I didn't even scan my ticket to get in because the entrance that I was at got bum rushed to the extent that I was sitting there with my ticket like, where do I scan this? And I just walked in because it was chaos. There was fights. I saw someone got like kicked in the face. I saw a guy with his kid and the kid's like sobbing, crying. It was legitimately horrifying for a good like 10-minute stretch getting in there.
So why was it that way? And I mentioned like the Bethune-Cookman perimeter that they established outside the stadium for Miami Hurricanes games. The Miami Hurricanes and the stadium operations people, they pay uniform personnel to be on the outside. CONMEBOL, for whatever reason, who's a governing body here in conjunction with CONCACAF, they take over lead when it comes to stadium ops. So pulling in, you don't have the uniform personnel outside establishing a perimeter, checking for parking vouchers to get into the stadium. To get into my parking lot, had to make a U-turn that was really not efficient at all, and I was left on my own on an island as a sea of people were moving from nearby places, being dropped off by Ubers. They were all on the street. So I'm getting waved at by stadium personnel who is now inside the gates, who usually is outside the gates, telling me to come in. And I'm asking how? How can I drive in there? There is right now, presently, as you're screaming at me, not doing it in a kind fashion, but I understand it's all crazy. There's presently 80 people around my car right now. You are telling me to drive through them without any uniform personnel guiding the way to come meet you there. Fine. Now, I'm an outlier because they checked my parking ticket and to see if I actually had tickets. And I got in, and then I got to the ticket place where I actually enter. And this is the entrance. I went in the entrance that I do for Hurricanes games all the time. And I know exactly how that place got bum rushed because I went to the front of a line after waiting for 40 minutes for a suite entrance ticket. I go to a suite entrance, and someone tells me, that's not the entrance for this. I'm like, what are you talking about? That's always the entrance for this. They're like, well, that's always the entrance for other things. But today, the entrance is over there. And he points to a singular door with a singular metal detector with a line that is wrapped around the venue. And he tells me to go to that entrance. So you're having thousands, every single person with a club level ticket trying to squeeze into one door. Now in front of me, there are fights, there's pushing, there's shoving, and once you start having 2 people pushing and shoving, it's a domino effect. More people push and shove, they crack open a door, you're hot, you got your family, you start making a run for it. You start pushing against. The entrance that I walked in was that entrance that you've seen on social media that got totally destroyed, the 72 Club entrance. That's where I walked in. I can absolutely see how that happened. I don't want to excuse the behavior of the people there, but I also think it was a byproduct of the entire setup. I've been out there for Miami FSU. Those people for Miami FSU, way more sauced up before the actual event starts than these people. This got out of hand. This got violent. And it was all because it wasn't mitigated on the front end. People made this situation worse. And you have families trying to defend themselves. You have cops now coming in with a full head of steam, making things worse, really pushing things because they're not stadium ops people. They're trying to manage this entire situation, which has already crossed through the threshold into a very dangerous public security matter. And so they're going to meet that moment with the type of aggression that you're used to seeing from Miami PD. It was all really bad, really scary, really messy. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like Hard Rock Stadium operations were allowed to do their usual job and had to take a back seat to a whole bunch of bureaucrats that don't know how to operate that stadium, and we saw how it played out with people actually going into AC vents. Like,
Dude,
die hard.
Going into AC vents, people sneaking into the 200 level, which is like the suite level. And at points, they had the doors shut with like something in it, blocking it. And people are like on the glass, like, no, I have a ticket to be in there. And they're just like, nope, there's thousands of people out there. We're not letting you in. Just legitimately scary. At one point, I don't want to make light of this. At one point, I almost grabbed a kid and did my I have a child thing. It was that kind of chaos.
It did
like,
feel
I
like
have a
Titanic.
child.
Run through with a kid.
I have a child. Let me in.
It did feel
Great
like
shield.
Titanic. It absolutely did feel like Titanic.
What was the idea with the vents, right? We were playing the video on stream.
I don't know.
Were people going to get through, like, schematically through the stadium to, like, somewhere else? Is there, like, a place where you can, like, just hop out on the other side? Because what if you get in that vent,
Mission
dude,
Impossible.
you start climbing, you're like, oh, shit, I'm lost. Where do I go?
Mike and I were sitting in, like, you know, our nice suite, and we were expecting, like, a head to, like, come
Sweet,
through
bro.
the air conditioning
It's
vent.
like,
Like, this place is taken. All right, next.
Yeah, we were absolutely expecting people to crash through the top of the ceiling in our suite. Yeah, MLS hooked it up. We were in Club Live, and if we had that difficult of a time getting in, I can't imagine what people in the upper deck were experiencing. Again, I told you, the get-in price for this was 3 times as much as it was for the Euro Final. People had paid $3,000 and didn't even get their ticket scanned. Some people were just stuck outside.
Is there a chance that someone is stuck in a vent right now?
There is.
Wow.
There absolutely
Trying
is.
to call, doesn't have service. He's like, oh.
There's absolutely, like, I'm sure they're doing a thorough search, but yeah, absolutely.
You say that jokingly. I would bet that there's one fan still in that stadium.
I guarantee you there's a fan that's somewhere they shouldn't be right now.
Stuck, though.
Potentially.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you'd leave the
Banging.
stadium if you weren't stuck.
At this point, you're banging, right? You're like, all right. I need
And
to
then
get out of here.
once you get inside the doors, you realize that where are all the people? It was the game's kicking off in 15 minutes. I know there's a ton of people here. I just walked through a sea of people. Where is everybody? You knew the game would be delayed in true, like, governing body soccer style.
They were in the vents.
There was a public announcement from some dude, I guess an official from CONMEBOL, with a bunch of cops behind him. And he was saying something that seemed important, but the sound wasn't working on the announcement, so I don't know. But I gathered that they were saying that because of what was going on outside, they were going to delay the game. The game got delayed about 75 minutes. I know a bunch of stories, and I know a bunch of people that tried to get to their seats. People were in their seats, and they had to handle it mano a mano, which is like, hey, get out of here or I'm going to have to get security. And you had a couple people calling bluff. Go find the security. Security has bigger fish to fry. They're not going to help you out here. So a bunch of people had tickets. They didn't actually watch the match from the seats that were assigned to them. It was real bad, real bad.
What time was the game supposed to start?
Supposed to start at 8.
And what time did it start?
9:22.
Did you guys have a time in mind where, like, hey, if it doesn't start by this time, it's a Sunday night, I got to work tomorrow. Did you have a time in mind where you're like, hey, I'm going to bail on this game?
I had that for if we didn't get let in, but we got let in like around game time.
So you would have waited till 11 if you had to.
I was sitting like if it's 9 o'clock and we're not even in the stadium yet, I'm leaving.
I had
kind of thing.
I had a babysitter, and so I had to get back at a time. I also had a friend who had very nice seats that couldn't make it to their seats, and she was stuck outside. And I was worried about her because she was just by herself. So I wanted to make it out safely. I went to the bathroom and I saw several police officers in riot gear. And I was like, this could be bad. At that point, you wonder, like, depending on how this game ends, this could be a riot afterwards. And the police are dressed like they're expecting it to be. So I told Cynthia, let's leave at around like minute 80. And I take Cynthia, we go downstairs. The elevator doors open to the 72 Club. I see this disaster area, and I saw 200 Miami PD riot officers. It feels like an Armageddon type of movie. It was really scary. So that just made me want to get out of there more. And so I find my friend. I get swarmed by like 14 people trying to get a screen cap of my ticket so they can go inside. I'm like, read the room, pal. I get to the car. I drive through some barricades because I had heard that they closed off 27th Avenue, which seemed like a great idea at the time, let me tell you. I just got to the 95 exit, and I was
This
able...
is an action movie. I mean, you driving through barricades.
I had just watched Dante's Peak.
Right.
I'm working on a limited fake...
It's a good movie.
Limited fake Pierce Brosnan and Dante's Peak. You want to hear it?
Yeah, please.
You have to put the town on alert. What are you doing? You have to put the town on alert. He says that like 75 times in the first half hour of the
Why
movie.
are you working on this?
You have to put the town on alert.
But why?
Well, it actually came in handy because I got everybody in my Jeep and I started driving like Pierce Brosnan in Dante's Peak. Putting the town on alert.
It's a good thing you worked it out beforehand.
Yeah.
I mean,
Lucy, this would have been the best edition of off-roading ever. You really miss a golden opportunity here with Colombia, Argentina.
When we went to Michigan, Ohio State, the fans were like swarming us and they were not nice. And that was just Michigan fans. So I could not be happier that I was not there.
Well, it was a different shade of maize and blue. Probably as incoherent and angry as you've ever seen. Look, there were a lot of people that wanted to be a part of that atmosphere that thought they just wanted to be around the grounds. They have that TV. It's actually set up for if you want to just tailgate and you have a ticket to do so. It's actually kind of a nice setup over there. We've seen with tennis and whatnot, totally different crowd. 3 times. Also, I heard from this is my own reporting, from stadium ops people that I know at Hard Rock Stadium. CONMEBOL also sold more tickets than they actually had. So that was a contributing factor as to why more people were there. But, this is an event town. You know that there was an expensive ticket. People were just going to want to be there around that atmosphere. And then people were like, well, shit, if everyone's going to make a run for it and some people are going to get in that stadium, why don't I? So it's a real mob mentality thing that spirals out of control. And thankfully, I went to bed as soon as that match ended, really afraid for what I was going to wake up to because I saw all those riot cops. I just thought, wow, Colombia's not going to take this loss well. And thankfully, nothing on social media afterwards. So kudos to law enforcement and stadium operations for salvaging what was a disaster and a huge black eye for a venue that is usually stellar in this department.
I feel like everyone at the end was just like, we've done enough.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
Well, this is so
really.
It was just kind of like, I feel like
this
we've
is
caused
bad.
enough
It's
chaos
been a
for one
day.
night.
It's been
It's after midnight.
It's been a weekend.
Let's leave it
Yeah,
alone.
we're all just a little tired.
No one needs this in their life. Let's just go. International soccer matches, especially ones that have access to the secondary market. Keep in mind, a lot of these cup finals, there isn't a game time that you can go into in Europe. There is no such thing as a secondary market. I know that's hard to believe for club soccer. Like, if you want to see a Premier League game, you're risking a lot if you're going to try to go to the secondary market. It's just not an aspect of the ticket marketplace over there. So you never see what you saw, which is all these rival fans sitting together in their pockets. Yeah, you have some silos, but you have sky blue and white shirts next to yellow shirts, and you're hoping for a lot of harmony in a really emotional game.
A lot of yellow.
And it was a lot of yellow, but we could all see that. There were some people saying like, oh, this is Messi mania. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what Miami is.
I'll get to him in just a second, but you cannot allow people who don't have tickets into the stadium, into the parking lot to tailgate, to get all liquored up. Because they're so close to a game that they want to go to, there's a good chance that some of them are going to try to get in illegally.
Well,
That's a terrible idea.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Stugotz, you're
Captain Hindsight. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they had a rule. No, you're not allowed in the parking lot without a ticket, but it was just hard to enforce it.
But Mike's saying there's a tailgating area. You're that close to a game that you really want to see. You're all liquored up. You've been drinking for 4 hours. Yeah, some people are going to get unruly. They're going to try to get into the stadium.
Right, but you mitigate that by having a perimeter and you have different checkpoints that people will go through. So they're not all bottlenecking, and you don't have like one person there telling tens of thousands of people, no, you don't have a ticket. You have a ticket, come on through, because that's going to have a huge delay. You spread that out across all the entrances, which is what they do for friggin' Bethune-Cookman. And why they didn't have it there for the Copa America Final, I don't know. I mean, I do know because CONMEBOL was in charge and CONCACAF was in charge, and they decided, no, we're the sheriff in town. You listen to us. To which I say, and I saw the mayor's statement on this, you're the cops. You don't say CONMEBOL was in charge. You're in charge. You're the cops. What are you doing? Why is no one throwing their hands up saying, that's a bad plan? We do this all the time. I'm sure it happened, but look, this is how you get the cup final. You bend at the knee. You bend the knee to CONMEBOL and CONCACAF and you say, you're in charge. We'll do things your way, even though our way keeps everybody safe. Even though our way has a stellar record and is able to host World Cup tennis, World Cup matches. We'll see if that happens in 2026 now on the heels of this. But Formula One, you name it, this venue can do it. But here, with CONCACAF and CONMEBOL involved, that's when we're going to decide we're going to be a show. Real bad situation.
Not prepared. I mean,
Real bad situation. Do you think soccer is dead still?
I do. I mean, you stay up until midnight. You get a single goal. You get Messi crying for no reason. I mean, just bawling on the sidelines. What is going on? I'm serious. It's like a soap opera soccer. I mean, half the game is watching guys riding around on the ground like they're in some sort of pain that they'll never, ever get rid of for the remainder of their life. And then they're up 3 minutes later, and they're fine, and they're running around the pitch.
Guys, can we
It's
put
a
up
dumb
that?
game.
Can we put up the ankle picture, please?
Yeah.
Can we, let's Stugotz.
Stugotz said Messi was crying for no reason. Stugotz,
Look at that ankle.
look at the size of that
It's
ankle.
swollen. I get it. Yeah. He was fine. I mean, he heard it in the first half. He got up 2 minutes later. He's flying around the field. He's doing whatever it is that Messi does, not scoring goals. And he's crying. Mike, I can't get into the game. I tried to watch it last night. I did. You told me it was the biggest non-World Cup soccer game in the history of soccer. I would argue, I would say some of those, New York Arrows games, Shep Messing, Steve Jungle, they were probably bigger.
Okay, that's club soccer. Totally different conversation. In the
Okay.
history of international soccer, this is probably the biggest non-World Cup match of my lifetime.
But I try to get into it. It's delayed 90 minutes. The game finally starts. Guys are falling all over the field. They're faking injuries. And you get a single
Faking.
goal. It's midnight. I mean, it's
Faking
enough.
injuries, diving all over the place. That's not a faked
I
injury.
don't like the sport. I don't know what to tell you.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, I tried. I tried for you. I did. And there were two games yesterday. You had Spain and England. That was 2-1, I think.
That was a
Spain
good
won.
game.
Right. What does it mean? I mean,
They're European champions.
so does Spain now play Colombia or
Spain is
Argentina?
well, actually,
They should do that.
Well,
That'd be cool.
Thank you. I'm going to fix soccer now.
They actually do. Next summer, they'll play like a final, I think, where they take the UEFA champion against a CONMEBOL champion, and they have a really funny name attached to it, and they play for a trophy. But what happens next
Who's going to
is
care in a year? I mean,
what happens next is there's another Euro in 4 years, and someone will be named European champion in 4 years. But in 2 years is a World Cup. That has nothing to do with what we saw over the weekend. It's just, each qualifying region has a championship. They essentially have a World Cup just for their continents, and that's what happened there.
So which one would you rather win? Like, what's considered the
World
better
Cup.
league?
The World Cup.
No.
is
I'm
great.
talking about like last night's game or England and Spain.
Which one's more impressive? UEFA. I mean, if you look at FIFA rankings, look, they're both really hard to win. The world champion presently resides in South America, and entering that match last night, Colombia had the longest undefeated streak in international soccer. A really interesting team, Colombia, because James, I think he won player of the tournament. James, who everyone would consider a superstar, on the club side, really bizarre career. Often injured, a journeyman, not playing well for much of the last 10 years on the club side. But on the international stage, he is so much better. He is every bit the superstar that he flashed in Brazil at the World Cup. He's incredible. It's a real huge gulf between who he is on the international stage and who he is on the club stage. And it was high drama, high theater. Colombia, I would essentially describe their talent, and people may dismiss me for this. I know the clubs that these players play for. That is a ragtag group. When James is your talisman, when James is your solid number, your number one name atop the team sheet, you're in a dire talent situation in your qualifying region, and they put together the longest undefeated streak entering last night. So an incredible game, tragic in some respects. I also saw children in the arms of their parents crying. It's hot. People, it becomes like survival mode out there. I can see how that spirals out of hand. Like the people had their hand in it. Law enforcement had their hand in it. Government bodies had their hand in it. Huge failure from the stadium ops people that told me they knew better. They straight up said, yeah, that's the entrance usually. But for this, it's over there. You're having someone tell you that with a straight face, knowing how dangerous that situation's going to be. It's no wonder that escalator on that side got totally destroyed.
Gotta slip that guy at 20, by the way.
You have
Like,
to.
Hey, buddy, come on.
I tried that move.
Come on.
Although on a night like that, it might be a C note.
Yeah, C note, but I mean, come on.
I
I'm
saw
getting in
Mike.
the store.
I saw Mike McDaniel walk up and get in. I'm like, I'm gonna go over there.
Yeah, that guy probably.
His office, though. I mean,
that guy probably has it figured out. He knows all the great vents to crawl into.
That's where
here.
the guy in the vent is, Mike McDaniel's office.
Dude, you're saying
Suspended over.
look, can we show the video again of the people climbing into the vents? There is definitely somebody inside the air conditioning system.
You
at
make a
Hard Rock
wrong
Stadium.
turn. I mean, you're going for a mile inside an AC
lost.
vent.
Yeah.
Where do I get out?
I saw some guy just totally ditch his wife or girlfriend because she couldn't get up the canopy. It was just like he tried to like lift her, she fell back down, and then he just
kept
like,
going?
"Sorry, honey. See you on the backside."
Yeah.
His ex-wife.
Well, mob mentality is a very real thing. We see it spiral all the time with riots where you're like, well, this person's going to do it. And then you get altitude. There's a 30 for 30 on the Vancouver riots when Vancouver lost the Stanley Cup. And everyone's just like, I don't really know how that got out of hand. It's like that escalated quickly. It's the Anchorman meme. But
never against Bethune, though.
never against Bethune. It's
Keep
crazy.
saying that. Starting today, I can run to a national title with Bethune-Cookman.
Yeah.
On the video game.
Today,
Still running
look,
triple option over with Bethune or no?
shout out to the world. Shout out to the world for somehow making a 10-year wait feel extra long as we approach the finish line here. Because today is the day for a lot of young men and women of a certain age. They're going to find out that they have a hell of a lot less time to play this game than they used to. And I am ready for that culture shock. But Stugotz, I have braced Cynthia for this moment for 10 years. You saw me out in Tahoe.
Yes.
We weren't working Tahoe. Tahoe was an anniversary trip.
Yep.
My anniversary isn't for another 2 weeks. But I strategized.
You
And
did.
I came up with a pathway. I was getting no more trips. I'm not going anywhere. My next trip is Gainesville for week 1 against Florida.
Big.
My
the
summer
swamp?
my summer is clear. And it's clear for college football 25. You're not a part of this sensation.
I have
your
2
first-
more trips to the Sphere.
I mean,
What
what's
are
your
you talking
first?
about?
What's your first season road schedule like? I mean, you do have some trips planned.
I do. Yeah, well, we'll see
Vegas.
we'll see what kind of neutral site games I can negotiate with Georgia Tech at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Seems like a great week 0 opponent for my Nevada Wolfpack that is now going to be perennial national champions.
We will get to weekend observations tomorrow. Dan will be back tomorrow. I will tell you, Mike, that I have an assortment of top 5s that I have collected over 2 weeks that if we don't get to any of them today, they will all be done during an hour-long weekend observations tomorrow because there are observations from the last 2 weeks of everything that happened in sports and what happened to us at Lake Tahoe. But before we get to that, so if you want to go to those at any point, feel free.
Well, it does
An
feel-
assortment of top 5s. Athletes that connote a lake, athletes that connote something you would find in a lake. I've got them all.
Well, it does feel like you've been gone for a while. I know you've swung in here and there for a quick pit stop, but it does feel like you've been a part of the Grateful Dead for the last 2.5 months.
I have a residency at the Sphere.
Yeah, you've been following, dude. Every show, I know every show is a unique experience, but you've been to like 90% of these Sphere shows.
I went to the first weekend, 2/3 of the first weekend. I went to Friday and Saturday. So I went to 2 of the first 3 shows. Then I went to an entire weekend on the front end of my vacation time. So that's 5 shows right there. And then because we were in Lake Tahoe, not working, but we were there enjoying it because we love that event, I went to another one because I was a quick hop away from Vegas.
It's a 12-hour drive. It's not
Well, it's a complaint. I mean,
it's not
You're gonna be the first person sick of the Sphere. You're just gonna be like,
No,
yeah, I'm over this.
No, I'll never get tired of that place.
I mean, very
Ever.
clear. If he's following that band, and to say, look, I've tried. I know that there's a whole thing that I can do to make me enjoy it more. I find jam bands, and you may find that as dismissive. No disrespect. It's just not for me. I find jam bands laborious.
Right.
I
But
find,
you love the Sphere.
I love the Sphere.
Yes.
But I think even then, I'd say, okay, kind of saw it. I'm already there with like Lake Tahoe. I'm all right. I've done this enough.
Really?
And Lake Tahoe is as jaw-droppingly beautiful a place on the planet as anybody. How many shows for Dead & Company were there at the Sphere?
Well, they did, 7 weekends, 3 per weekend, so 21. I went to, I think, maybe 24. I went to 6 of them.
Only?
I went to a weekend of 3, a weekend of 2, and this weekend I went to 1.
Because it
This
does
past
feel
weekend.
like, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like Stugotz has been gone for a really long time. I think he popped in real quick for like Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals and then deuced.
I did. So I spent but I had only, at the time my vacation started, I had only been to 2 shows at the Sphere. During vacation, I went to 4 shows at the Sphere.
You work very hard. You're entitled to vacation, but you've been gone a while, yeah?
I've been gone for 2 weeks, yeah.
Feels
Dan's been gone for 2 weeks.
No.
I mean, I'm sitting here on a Monday. Where's he?
For whatever reason,
Open Championship week.
It feels
like
like
you-
2 months.
You were doing like one show per week for about the 6 weeks before that.
That's
is
what
it
was
felt
going
like.
on.
A lot of lacrosse mitzvahs.
I'll be off Wednesday.
There you go.
So it stands to reason why you'd have an hour-long edition of Weekend Observations coming around the corner.
Yes.
Did you get to see any of the, like, I saw you for 2 days and then you dipped. You weren't out there the entire weekend in Tahoe, right?
No, I went to Dead and Company.
Yeah.
Sphere.
I mentioned it. It was my anniversary, and the reason why I'm confused is like I didn't really want to see Stugotz out there.
Right, I know. Sorry.
I did.
And here's what I didn't want to hear out there, okay? Because I traveled all the way to Lake Tahoe to not hear about Greg Berhalter. And the first time I see Mike Ryan, what is he doing? Talking about Greg Berhalter with Taylor Twellman. I mean, by the way, that guy can golf. And he can dress. He is a handsome devil. But I traveled to Lake Tahoe to get away from Berhalter, and the first thing I'm engaged in with Mike is a conversation about Berhalter.
It's been happening to me a lot. A lot of people have come up to
It's
me.
not your fault, though.
No, it's not. I don't want to talk about Greg Berhalter. You think I would much rather privately revel in the fact that Greg Berhalter is out of my life than someone come up to me and remind me that Greg Berhalter was in my life for 5 years. When I went to Chicago for the NASCAR street race, first time in my career I'd ever been recognized for a take. Someone clearly, they stopped me at Grant Park. They're like, I know you from somewhere. Where is it? I'm like, well, the Dan Le Batard Show. That's not it. And he was like snapping the fingers. He's like, Berhalter guy. So I'm like, I guess that take got
It's your new
traction.
nickname. That's a sad superhero.
Yeah, so the last thing I wanted was just to talk about Greg Berhalter in that moment. But yeah, Stugotz, he does tend to just saddle up. And he sees me there with Taylor
I got to tell
Twellman,
you,
and
I
we're talking
felt it.
about
I felt
Berhalter.
that you were on your, you and Cynthia were enjoying yourselves.
Was this at the welcome party?
Yeah.
How was that thing?
Yeah, the
How
food
was
truck
it?
party.
No, no. I mean, before it.
Oh, I
like
went
the
to.
little-
Mike wasn't at the welcome party. I went to the
Yeah,
welcome
of course
party.
you did.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was great.
Yeah.
Was Ray there?
I mean, I was cutting it up with Doug Peterson. Ray was there. Yeah.
I don't know why Stugotz was at this welcome party. Stugotz
who's who?
usually
I
is
was
like.
showing my support for the event.
Stugotz definitely weaseled his way into this players-only meeting because at least before he would take part in the celebrity pro-am that's
Right.
on Thursday, or he's out there working in and he's going to be on the driving range, so he's establishing hey, we'll talk to you on Friday and whatnot. There was no reason for Stugotz to be in this players-only meeting on Thursday, on Wednesday. I have no idea how he got in that building. Well, I know, but he shouldn't have been in of all days. I wasn't there because I realized, why the F would I be there? Leave these guys alone.
Stu went through the vents.
I did.
Was the magician there?
No. Thankfully.
What magician this year?
Oh, the magician's
No
terrible,
JT?
Let's be honest.
Dude, there was
Not
a
the
pretty
time for him, I don't think.
I got to tell you, the numbers, I have found my fifth major, and it's this tournament. I love it so much, in part because we're always rooting for Marty Fish, who has become a friend of ours, and he won it yesterday. And I was excited for him, and I texted with him after his round was over. But I just love being out there. I love the event. It's the golf tournament that I pay the most attention to outside of the four majors of the PGA. I just love it out there. And the attendance keeps growing. Mike, you noticed it.
Yeah.
It was packed.
It was a little different with without Mahomes and Steph Curry there this year. It was super packed, but usually you have a huge gallery following.
They were with the Kelseys this year?
Yeah,
No,
it was with Travis.
I got to tell you, the Kelseys, I have never seen anything like this. I'm being serious in sports, where an offensive lineman, a center, because Travis did not arrive until the night before. Jason was there for the entire week. And I am telling you, after a practice round, Jason is perched on a little boulder, okay, right by the driving range. And there are thousands of people surrounding Jason Kelce wanting a center's autograph, a picture with Jason Kelce. And then Travis Kelce commands so much attention these days that they couldn't figure out how to get him into the facility.
It's an absolute sensation.
was
Jason
crazy.
Kelce was the second most famous person there in terms of chirping from the gallery.
That's how it's going to happen when you're in the Taylor Swift orbit.
Absolutely.
These two people in Jason and Travis Kelce, who already were ultra famous within their sport, get to catapult to a level of celebrity that not even the celebrities who aren't known for sports have at this event.
So you've been to this event. You know that traditionally it is owned. The event, in terms of fun and entertainment, it is owned by Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
And Justin Timberlake.
And Timberlake. I am telling you, in 2 years' time, Jason Kelce will own that event. If he doesn't already, he will own the event. You guys will love this because I go up to Kelce, and he's signing everything.
Which one?
Jason. Okay. Travis isn't there yet. This is after a practice round. And he is signing everything. And he's taking pictures, and he's shaking hands, and he's kissing babies. He's doing the whole thing for thousands of people. And I said, Jason, as he's doing it, I walked up to him. I said, listen, you need to learn a word. Mix it into your vocabulary. It's called no. 30 minutes later, I send him a text asking him to join me on the show.
Did he say no?
He said yes.
You're the best.
Yeah. It's still like his brand of superstardom is still pretty cool to experience because him and Travis are really reveling in it and super accepting of it. And it's great to see someone. Charles Barkley is really good at this. He knows how important it is for someone to meet and have an experience with Charles Barkley, and he wants everyone to come away with a good experience. And the Kelceys are kind of the same way.
Yes.
I also feel the same way that Stugotz does. I also randomly treat the American Century Championship like it's like the fifth major. We do drafts on it, and we follow Marty.
Matt Ryan, good pick.
Yeah, my wife. I love celebrity golf because I don't need to have this golfer explain to me. I'm already invested. Let's go. Competition format is a great reality show for me. So my wife and I, we follow Thielen, Jake Owen, and Marty Fish for day one. Mm-hmm. That was like an incredible trio. And from a golf perspective, those guys put up, I think, they were all in the top 10. They were all in the top 10 in terms of scoring. So
Cynthia's probably like, wow, these guys are pretty good at golf.
These guys can play.
Right. I had redemption, by the way, with Jake Owen. I got it right.
Yeah.
He hugged me.
Really?
That's great.
Now he was on the driving range, and it said Jake Owen.
Very helpfully. He's also cut his hair, but also Aaron cut his hair.
Yes.
So it's a little confusing.
Do you do the joke? Hey,
It's
Aaron.
not confusing. They don't look alike.
No, it's not at all.
I didn't do the joke, but I did spend my entire time like following Aaron around saying, hey, watch it. Like, the guy's jumping for footballs. He's doing this. He's doing that. There was a time where he almost ran over Jake Golick's kid. And I'm like, Aaron, watch where you're going. I didn't care about Golick's kid. I cared about Aaron not getting hurt.
I saw him do like a little Euro step around someone's mark on the green. I'm like, be careful with that ankle, dude.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes.
Did you have, you had,
Yeah, he was fine with me.
yeah, you were good?
It's just you that he doesn't like, and Dan.
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. He and I are good.
Or
Tight,
you just don't care. I think that's also like you just.
Oh, no, I care. There are certain things that he has said over the last couple of years that have rubbed me the wrong way. No question about it.
But I'm never going to in person say anything.
But in
negative.
person, I'm never going to say anything to him or Jake Owen.
He's my quarterback.
Yeah. So Cynthia was following, this was her first time at Lake Tahoe, and she was following that trio. And the very next day, we decided to follow Matthew Tkachuk around for a little bit. And then she realized how hard golf is because she stopped following Marty Fish. She goes from like seeing like a dude on pace to set the course record to actively trying to find Matthew Tkachuk's third shot on 18, which was totally never found. Just it disappeared. It went into the water somewhere. Who knows what became of it? She was shocked at how good Marty is compared to like the rest of the field.
I told Marty I'm taking 25% credit for his victory. We had a little pre-round speech before the first round. I said what I had to say, and he went out and won the thing. So, I mean, I said 25%. Marty said that's a bit too much. Your speech did motivate me. It's a bit too much. He dialed it back to 20. I'll meet him halfway, 22.5%.
I'm picturing you just saying, hit him straight, buddy.
I said you're the best golfer out here by a lot. Go win the bleeping thing. That's what I told him.
Not by a lot. Pavelski's pretty good.
That he's a problem.
Yeah.
He's always lurking.
If you watch the American Century on TV, it's like the same broadcast over and over again every year of them just being like, this Marty guy, he's not just good, he's really good. And Adam Thielen, he's got a bit of that too. John Smoltz, Mark Mulder, good golfers.
Yeah, really good golfers.
It's like the same broadcast just re-aired.
So it's modified Stableford scoring out there. So like the plus points are good. So A-Rod,
as long as you don't double bogey, you're good.
A-Rod, you get -2 for a double bogey.
0 for a bogey, 1 for a par, negative something. For
A-Rod got a -32 day one.
He did.
I saw a video of
Playing
him
lights
hitting
out,
one
huh?
where it like hit something and like went back at him. It was just it's good to see those kind of guys be normal.
He's my new best friend, A-Rod, and Mike had an awkward moment with him.
Oh, that's right.
Can't be worse than our like Nick Jonas, Justin Timberlake. Hey, pa.
Oh yeah, let's find that. Let's find up like the hits of the previous years. No, it wasn't my awkward moment. I shared it, but it was Cynthia's awkward moment with A-Rod.
gosh.
She did something terrible. We'll talk to you about it next.
So, Chris, we're at the food truck party after the players' meeting. Tahoe, I know you love that.
Anyone sad sitting alone like Brian Kelly was a few years ago?
No. Did you see anyone sitting alone, sadly?
No, I think most of the people that don't want to be there, they pop in because they have to make an appearance, and then they quietly just make their way out.
Yeah.
But there are a couple people there that I was hoping for an interaction with Matthew Tkachuk because my wife was there and she would have been excited, but she's pretty chill about that stuff.
Right.
She doesn't generally like to approach people.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we had a nice Miz was really happy to see me. I guess anytime he's around a golfer that's worse than he is, he's pretty happy to see them.
So the Kelseys were playing the first round with Miz, and I said, hey, enjoy your 9-hour round of golf.
Hey, he's improved as a golfer, but he still takes like a really long time to play.
Yeah.
But he's a super nice guy.
You're going to be bad fast.
I guess if there was a Brian Kelly at the food truck party, it was me.
Boy, you are really inflating your persona.
I was walking around by myself. I felt like Mike and Cynthia wanted nothing to do with me.
We didn't.
I felt it. But here's what happened, Chris. So after Mike is done with the awkward Berhalter conversation with Taylor Twellman, somehow I have moseyed over to A-Rod, and I am talking to A-Rod. And A-Rod is taking great interest in me. And I am loving this conversation. We're talking. And then
Pause.
Yes.
Talking. This was not an actual conversation from human beings. This was like
Hey, buddy, A-Rod.
That's talking to me. I mean,
couple dudes trying to out-phony the other one with like
phonies cutting it up.
So A-Rod puts his arm around Stugotz.
Big fan of what you guys do.
Big fan. I haven't gotten feedback off of anything I've done greater than I did with that South Beach sessions with Dan, and like it's just lots of laughs, lots of leaning over, lots of touching the shoulder. I know Schwarmy when I see it, and those dudes were putting on a display.
Yeah, but I'm feeling good because I'm there with nobody, okay? Mike is there with his wife, and I feel like I have found my partner, okay? And it's A-Rod. And I'm going to hang with A-Rod the entire weekend. But then Mike moseys over with Cynthia, and it gets really awkward.
Really awkward.
Did you guys plan this? Before we tell the audience what it is, and the guys here, and Lucy, what it is that actually happened, did you guys plan this out?
So we saw you talking over there. This was right at the entrance. And again, like our plan is to get away from Stugotz and enjoy
I know the
evening.
move, though. If you see someone talking to someone cool, though, it's like, oh, let's
well,
go stand by
you
Stugotz.
have like, well, it's Stugotz there. And so we have the easy way. And so my wife used to be related to A-Rod.
So she said that?
No. It
That's
would
a
be
bad
awkward.
start. Yeah,
It'd be fine. No, I'll tell you how she started it, which is the worst way you can start a conversation ever. And yeah, I said that Stugotz and A-Rod were a couple of phonies cutting it up. I actually think Alex is nice. I understand people have
love him.
They have their thoughts and feelings. Like I don't. If the worst thing that you could say about a guy is that he's nice to me all the time, and I don't believe it, who cares? Like he's nice. So Cynthia used to be related to Alex in that her godmother, her first cousin, also named Cynthia. They look alike. She was married to Alex. That was Alex's first wife. They have two beautiful children together that are a part of our lives. We love those kids. So we see them all the time. So naturally, we have a family tie. And so Cynthia, if there's any opportunity to say hello to she stayed at Alex's penthouse in New York. Like she went to the wedding. She was a part of the family. So if there's ever an opportunity, this is the one while he's talking to Stugotz, because Stugotz has properly opened this setup.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you say it without making it awkward is the question.
I put my hand on her shoulder. Stugotz had introduced me.
Yes.
Hey, this is a producer of our show, and that's a great vine. Thank you. I'm going to set the table for Cynthia. Cynthia cuts through. I don't know if she had nervous energy, and just goes directly to Alex and says, hey, do you remember me? You don't do that.
My weekend with A-Rob was over.
My dad can come up to me and say, hey, do you remember me? And I might get like frozen for a bit. No, how do I answer this? Hey, do you remember me? He hasn't seen Cynthia outside of like a funeral like in like 8 years.
Yeah.
Hey, you remember
of-
me? I used to be your family.
He had a couple of guesses, I think, that were wrong. Did he not?
No, he's like, he answered it the way that you should. It's like, I'm not so sure, because even the worst possible thing that you could say is like, yeah, and try to take stabs at guessing who the person is. You could see that there was like something there, but he didn't want to actually like start playing the guessing game.
He's like, good to see you.
It was
That
just
move of just like, I'm going to say good to see you.
He should have hit it with prima.
no. And then she goes, Cynthia Mekris. And so he's like stunned by the whole thing, and you could see him like
Stunned.
Yeah, you could see him
Trying to put it
trying
together.
to figure it out. Cynthia Mekris, and then his response was, Cynthia? And he put his hand out like he first met Cynthia when she was 5. I'm like, Cynthia has not grown. You know, she was
dad
the
does
same
that-
height when she met you.
My dad does that with women my age. He's like, little Tina? It's like, Tina's 38 years old. my dad.
It's
Same
like-
height, though.
He goes, Cynthia? Like he met, like he saw her in grade school or something. He's like, and then he said, yeah, we used to be, it's weird. We were kind of related, still kind of are, but I could not get out of there faster.
It went from me introducing A-Rod to Mike to Mike never having any interaction, Cynthia just stepping in. Do you know who I am?
Go to the kids first, maybe. You start saying the names.
It got
We
frosty.
love-
I was trying, but Cynthia trampled me. I don't know. I still have to like talk to her. Like, what happened there? Like, what was your?
Wait, you haven't spoken to her yet?
I don't want to relive it.
I figured you spent the entire weekend
I am
discussing it.
mortified on your behalf.
It was so
That's
bad.
as bad as it can possibly go in an introduction, because now his mind is just racing as to how he possibly knows this person. You guys already know him. He was on South Beach Sessions in his mind like 3 minutes ago, and now he's trying to figure out who Cynthia is.
I could
So
not.
awkward.
I could not get out of there faster, and I like had this like frozen in fear kind of smile, like as I turned the corner, and like I take a few steps because now I have to talk to Cynthia about what just happened, but also I have to mansplain. The toxic, the toxic urge to mansplain what happened there through the eyes of a man, and I told Cynthia like, you can never do that to somebody, especially like a celebrity. You can't lead with, hey, do you remember me? You can never do that. She conceded that was probably not the best foot to get off on.
Was she upset that it took him a minute? Like,
No, she understood it
'cause
afterwards.
when you
She's
go in
like,
with that question, you're expecting the person to know who you are.
I asked her, like, why'd you do that? She's like, I don't know. I don't know why I did it that way.
Very aggressive.
It was and she said it with some sass too.
I know.
And look, there's family dynamics at
Like,
play.
you better know who I am.
Divorce can be ugly, especially when it plays out in the tabloids. You can understand my wife has her certain feelings about things but we've made it work. And credit to Alex and Big Cynthia, that's what we call her. Like, they have made it work, and they've raised 2 beautiful children together. Beautiful, wonderful, upstanding girls. We love them. And it's really not that tense and awkward around the family. I'm not sure why she made it so tense and awkward in that moment, her first time seeing Alex in about 8 years. But yeah, it was really awkward, and I avoided Alex Rodriguez at all costs afterwards. But thank you for always being nice to me, even if you don't mean it. Like, I appreciate it. Again, like, the worst thing someone can say about you is that you're nice all the time. I think that's fine.
Are you guys good with someone being nice to you, saying nice things to you all the time, having no idea whether or not he or she means it?
Are you guys confused by that message coming from Stugotz?
I'm just wondering.
He's just checking to know whether or not we're offended by him.
Exactly right. Yes.
So you're asking if
I'm good
we're
with it.
upset if somebody only says good things about us or good things to us?
They're always nice to you. They always say good things to you, but they have the personality of A-Rod, and you're not certain if what they're saying is true. But they're just being nice, and you'll take it because it's someone being nice to you. I mean,
there's no genuine connection there. Like, it's all a facade, and I do think that people would get hurt by it. Jeremy, do you have that social experiment piece together?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. All right. So let's. This is a great
Perfect time.
This is a perfect time to trot this out. Jeremy has built out a game.
Yeah, this is going to be called MLB All-Star or Meadowlark Media Employee. So I'm going to read a name, and Stugotz, you are going to tell me whether this person is a Meadowlark Media employee or an MLB All-Star. We're going to start here.
He's already scared.
Does he have to guess the team? He should
no,
have to
you
guess
don't have
the
to.
team.
Yeah, you want to guess the team? We want to add that as part of it?
Yeah.
MLB,
Well, you're exposing him on multiple fronts
that's
here.
too much. Let's just say you got to tell me if it's a Meadowlark Media employee or an
All
MLB
right.
All-Star. So we'll start here. Chris Tuminello.
love Toomey. Meadowlark Media employee.
Really? That sounds like a middle reliever for the Kansas City Royals.
That is a Meadowlark Media employee.
Thank
Congratulations,
you. I
Stu
just love my
Gotts.
employees. How about that?
Do you know what he?
Alex-
Hold on. Do you know what he does?
Toomey?
Oh, come on. What are you doing?
Toomey?
No. All right. Fair enough. He
If
got
he
the
does
right
that, he's
answer.
got to name the team.
I mean, he's got a 50-50 chance.
He's got a 50-50 shot here. Alex Nobrega.
Nobrega. Alex Nobrega. Alex. I know there's an Alex that works here. I'm going to say Meadowlark employee.
All right, 2 for 2.
Whoa!
Wow,
I think
on a heater.
I think he did something with our sets. Let's do something. I don't know. Maybe? No?
You know what? Don't talk anymore. You got it
Okay,
right. Just
2 for 2.
keep it moving. 2
All
for
right.
2.
Okay.
Tommy Darrow.
Tommy. Last name?
Darrow.
Tommy Darrow.
My favorite part about that was the audible O from Chris Cody as a bet.
Wasn't expecting the game to be this
Too
long.
much time to stall. He's trying to figure it out in his head.
Tommy Darrow.
Tommy Darrow is a Major League Baseball All-Star.
That is incorrect.
It's not the loser game show.
That's Thomas.
I've seen your
Sorry, Tommy D.
I've seen your interactions with Thomas Darrow.
Have you? Oh, he's in this office.
Yeah, he's based out of here now. I call him Big Show. Looks like the Big Show.
Tom! I didn't know his last name was Darrow.
You did.
All right.
You did do something there by
Tommy
making it
D.
Tommy
Making it
Darrow.
Tommy.
Tommy D.
Mason Miller.
Mason Miller. Mace. I'm going to say eventually there's got to be a Major League Baseball All-Star here.
You're just playing a numbers game at this point.
I am playing
You've given up on
percentages.
actually having human relations with whoever this Mason Miller is. You're just guessing and
I'm
playing
gonna say-
numbers.
Yeah, I am. Eventually we'll get to one, right? All-Star.
All-Star.
Thank you.
Mason Miller.
Boom.
Oakland A's closer.
I just know him as M. Miller from Fantasy.
M. Miller.
Yeah,
3 for 4.
that makes you an
Ethan-
all-star.
Ethan Badowski.
Ethan Badowski works here.
Wow.
he
The
did.
confidence. Congratulations, Ethan.
I know
Stu
he
knows
did.
you.
Yes.
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
This Darrow's going to sit with me for a bit. Sorry, Thomas. Give me the name again.
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
DGK.
Yeah, DGK.
Wait, can you say the name again?
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a K.
Yeah, DGK. Stu?
Did you grow up around any Latin people?
I did. Luis Guzman, Michael Gomez.
You got a guess?
I need to hear it again.
Daniel Gonzalez Quevedo.
All-Star.
He is an all-star. Let me be frank. He is
Danny
an all-star.
GK.
Yeah, he's an all-star for
There
us.
he is.
A Meadowlark All-Star.
Danny
That's
GQ.
Danny GQ.
And that's
GK
it.
So
forever.
everyone calls him
Danny, sorry, I love you, dude. Love you. I love you.
GK.
I've never heard your last name, your middle name, whatever the name was. I never heard it. DKG.
But you were great at your job. Thank you for all the work that you do.
Yep, appreciate you.
Patrick Kim.
Oh, Pat Kim.
Patty Kim. Like you're just going through the variations of the name to see if you have any recollection saying it in an awkward interaction.
Yes.
Patty Kim.
Pat Kim.
Pat Kim.
All-Star.
Nope.
I don't think Chris Cody knows who Pat
There's
Kim
been a couple.
is.
There's been a couple that Chris has turned around and been like, "Hey, what's the answer?" So I know what sound
There's
to
a
play.
New York office. It's a little unfair.
It does make it unfair.
And Stugotz has been on vacation for 3 months.
Well, this one
Thank
should be
you.
easy
Sphere,
for you.
I mean.
This one should be easy. Jordan Westberg.
Jordan Westberg.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Please.
Stugotz does not know who Jordan Westberg is.
All-Star.
All-Star.
It was just numbers at that point. My dude was trying to
He's
survive.
guessed All-Star like 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
Well,
He was at the Hard Rock Stadium gates just trying
And the
to get
last
in at
one
that
for
point.
you, Mike Malley.
employee.
Wow. All right, Stugotz.
Love Mike Malley.
That would-
Only 3 wrong out of the 8 names that we said.
He did
That's
pretty well.
better than anticipated.
He did way better than I thought he
If
would.
you just said Danny without the KG part of it, I would have been like
KG.
employee. Yeah.
Yeah, KG.
Danny-
I know
KG.
Danny. There's a lot of Danny's here. I just
So
would have said
Danny
employee.
GQ is
Yeah.
now Danny KG.
Whatever.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, Stu.
Thank you.
Good job. It's
All-Star
MLB
week.
All-Star Week, right?
Yeah, right now.
used to
Home
ma-
Run Derby tonight.
That's tonight?
Yeah, home run
They're
derby's
still doing
tonight.
that. What's the
No
format
way.
this year?
I'm tired of that.
It's changed again. You won't know until you log on to the broadcast because they're constantly changing the rules. But there are 3 players from the NL East in this year's home run derby.
Well, there you go. If you're looking for a draw,
Marlins fans get real excited.
What, Peter Alonso?
Pete Alonso's one of
Tired
them.
of him, the polar bear.
the polar bear.
A guy would rather win the home run derby than win a World Series. I'm telling you, that's what he's known for.
You do
the
kind
derby.
of live forever. Josh Hamilton was a really great player
man.
in his day, and everyone, the first thing that they'll mention to him is probably that home run derby at Yankee Stadium.
It was electric, and he didn't even win.
Yeah,
I was
like,
at that. I was at that one randomly.
That's a
In New
great
York,
event.
Josh
What?
Hamilton,
Are you
yep.
kidding me?
Yep.
That is a hell of a cocktail hour.
And then the
opener.
next night, I went to the game, the All-Star game, sat in the outfield right behind Rob Parker.
Really?
Fun fact.
the Rob Parker.
Rob Parker, because this was like at the peak
first
of like
take?
him on like
Yeah.
first
is
take.
Rob
with
Parker?
pizza.
It might have been first and
I was
10
like,
at that
like,
point.
holy shit, Rob Parker's right in front of me.
Parker. Yeah, there was a lot of great moments. And to your point, there was a lot of great players that had great moments in that game that it still somehow outsized their career. Like anybody, if you get to the show and have a career like Bobby Abreu, which is like a
I
great
literally
career.
just said that name back here.
Yeah.
His home run derby was spectacular.
He had an incredible career.
And the second half of his season was a nightmare.
Yeah, dude, his career might have ended that night for all I know. He had a great home run derby, and I know his production took a shit after that, and next thing you know, Bobby Abreu isn't around anymore.
Were you shocked to learn that Josh Hamilton did not win that home run derby? Because I felt like he won it.
Wait, he didn't win? I was there.
He didn't win.
He didn't win it, but he won it. He did win it.
He
He's
exhausted
the rare
himself.
guy who didn't win, but he won. Right.
Exactly, based off
seriously,
the PR of
who
it.
won?
But I think what it was is that was why they started changing the rules, because he had such an unbelievable round, but then was exhausted by the end of it, and so he ended up losing the home run derby. I'll look up and figure out who
So
it was.
what are the rules now?
Genuinely, I don't know the answer to what you're asking.
That
me.
was 08? Oof.
And then Hamilton said that whole bunch of nonsense afterward. He had a dream about the home run derby at Yankee Stadium. Get out of
Justin
here.
Morneau beat him.
Yeah.
It was Justin
Wow,
Morneau.
He's an
Justin
MVP,
Morneau.
Yeah.
MVP, yeah, one of the
Oh,
like
sick.
more forgettable MVPs
Beat him
out there.
5-3 in the final.
Wow.
Hey, do you have that? You only because you alluded to it. Do you have that clip of Nick Jonas on
I
with
have
us?
the Nick Jonas one. He wasn't on with us. This is me, Mike, and Stugotz at the desk near the range in Tahoe, and we were right near the medical tent where they would get work done. And so Nick Jonas. Oh, we actually have it on video that we can play here in a second. That's good. He's walking by the medical tent on his way to get some treatment. You can see in this clip behind us is that trailer where the medical tent is. So Nick Jonas walking by us, and this is our moment to have our moment with Nick Jonas. And let's see if Mike screws it up.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Good luck today. That shot on 18, my God, dog.
Dog,
Bah.
you made it weird. That time you embarrassed us.
Yeah, I
Mike.
did.
He literally looked through you right there like, what?
Yeah.
It's so good.
I have not worn that shirt since, in large part because I probably can't fit in it anymore. But I got really drunk that day. Like that's the.
You were hammered. Yeah.
I don't think I've
Were
been
you hammered there?
No, but I there's a clip of me slurring, and I'm pretty sure it's that day. I had no idea how strong the signature cocktail at Lake Tahoe.
Wasn't it like a strawberry
It
lemonade?
was Iguodala that you stumbled on. I think.
Yeah, it was
Iguodala,
like
yeah.
it's called the Big Celebrity Crush. It's like a $23 drink. Thing goes down like water. It's incredible. Yeah. And I had no idea how strong those things were. And so I decided this is a great time out here with Lewis. Let me have 7 of these. And I started slurring, and I just so associate that polo with that shame and how drunk I was that I'm never wearing it again. I see it every now and then. I'm like, can I fit in this shirt? Can I fit in this shirt? Oh, God, that's the shirt that I was like super drunk in a Tahoe. Can't wear that shirt. Yeah, let me know when you have like me slurring.
Whenever we find that we could play it, but I do have the rules here of home run derby if you want it. Right?
Well, it was they're getting on you, Jeremy. It was a lot better than the silence.
Yeah, I was
That
trying to just
that was
fill
there.
the silence
So
that was
I
just gonna sit there.
Appreciate
Sorry.
that.
Do you
Let me
guys
know what
feel
comes
bad?
up.
Do you guys feel bad for Morneau because he won the home run derby? Yet no one thinks that he did.
No one comes up to
Everyone
him.
I feel terrible for him. Porno. I mean, I do.
Porno?
Justin Porno.
Oh, wait, that's a different guy.
Totally. He was taking porn hacks that day, but it was a totally different
But the
meaning.
guy won, and the only thing anyone remembers from that home run derby is Josh Hamilton.
So nothing comes up when you search Mike Slur?
Mike drunk. I'll type in slur. I was doing drunk.
We
Mike,
should avoid that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let me know if something pops up that isn't me actually slurring over my words so we can promptly purge the system of that. It was wild making content in 2007.
It was. I'm sad to hear though that you're over Tahoe because
I mean, I in terms of like the jaw-dropping beauty, I did do something that was fairly touristy, dude, and it was a sunset cruise.
Oh yeah, was it nice?
I thought I was gonna hate it because it's a very touristy thing to do, but I literally did it just to get my dad off my back. My dad went to Tahoe once, and he became the expert on Lake Tahoe, even though he was following all of my recs. The one thing that he did on his own, because my dad is a lone wolf, bachelor. He's lived his entire life basically by himself. And he did a sunset cruise by himself, and he said it was amazing. I'm like, number one, that's really weird. And two, I don't want to do this. But I literally did it to shut him up, and it was incredible. Do the sunset cruise in Lake Tahoe. And so you can really see the enormity of the place because it is gorgeous.
I enjoy alone time. I mean, I don't mind traveling by myself. I don't mind going to concerts by myself. I don't mind golfing by myself. In fact, in some instances, I prefer it. I mean,
Golfing's
I don't want
the
to
one-
have a conversation.
I'll push back on golfing. I don't like golfing alone. Everything else, I'm kind of with you on traveling. I mean, I think it would run its course at some point. Like, it's cool for a few days, but
Right.
So Cynthia and I saw Stugotz by himself. Again, it's not a lie.
Having a blast.
I was trying to avoid Stugotz. I was staying at the same hotel that Stugotz was. Cindy and I were having breakfast, and we literally put our menus in front of our faces as Stugotz was very clearly going on a cigarette break.
Oh, yeah.
And they have like a designated, it's kind of sad, they have an area outside where people can smoke their cigarettes. And it's just like these 4 chairs that are all facing one another.
Right in front of my room.
Like
It's
they're-
right in front of my room.
They knew you were coming. It's like a cigarette cipher.
No, there's people smoking right in front of my room. I open up the window because the window opens all the way up. I'm like, hey, you're smoking on my yard. Get
weed's
outta
legal
here.
there. There's people smoking everywhere, isn't there?
Well, yeah,
Well, you can have forest fires. Like, so they're
Oh,
very
yeah, I've only smoked in the smoking areas. There, for
they're very cognizant of this fact, and they try to have it all isolated. So you have just like a really sad cipher of seats. they're all kind of
Look at
like
each other and smoke.
White's a terrible color for a chair that's outside, regardless. But you also have like it being stained with tobacco.
I mean,
it's not white anymore.
Cigarette smoking areas are never like the happiest places on earth. Like they're generally about that.
I will say, like, in terms of like a vista, this is one of the more beautiful cigarette smoking areas, but it's still sad because it seems like second-class citizens like go over there on this wobbly chair that will never stay flat. It's not on flat ground anyways, and it's been warped by the asses that have sat in it over
And
the
it's right in
last few
front of my
decades.
room. I mean, these people aren't staying at the hotel.
tell you, my smoking
These
section-
locals coming by having a smoke right in front of my room.
My smoking section was right by the 10th green. Or no, is it the 9th green? What is it that it's like
The porta potties?
is it near the porta potties?
Yeah.
I don't know what you know what, I haven't been there in a couple years. I don't remember what hole specifically, so let's forget I said anything. Back to you guys.
Have you found the Iguodala bit yet or no?
Nothing came up with the Mike Slur search. Well, I'm actually pretty pumped about
Do you want
that.
those home run derby rules?
I do want those home run derby rules.
They're very bizarre. The first round is either.
Wait, can someone pull up like the favorites on DraftKings Sportsbook too? And like, is
Alonzo.
It was there the whole
Pete
time.
Alonso is the favorite,
Yes,
I
of
believe.
course.
There,
All he cares
I
about.
found it.
It was there the whole time.
There's a lot of paperwork that you got to do to get a super follow.
What do you mean paperwork?
I'm
super
following
Mike.
There's procedural shit that you got to take care of.
I'm
You gotta,
intrigued. I'm
like,
intrigued.
do you know the last 4 digits of your social security?
You don't sound bad at all.
Social-
Jesus Christ.
You wanna redo
Holy
that?
shit. Pick your ass. Oh my
mean-
God.
You were doing fine.
I was doing great before that.
Yeah, go pee again.
Do you know the last 4 digits of your security? Security?
You-
4 digits of your social security?
You don't sound bad at all.
Social-
Jesus Christ.
You wanna
Holy
redo that?
shit. Pick your ass.
I actually think that was a different year in a different church.
It may have been.
That was 2022. 7/11/2022 is when we saved
Oh no,
that.
all right, that was Pink Elephant shirt.
What was the year I got to JT? What year was that?
I think that was all the same year.
Oh,
We
geez.
crushed
Yeah.
it that year.
That
We
year.
did that, and then the next year you did the Aaron Rodgers thing. So it's been
That was last year.
yeah.
And the first year you got hit by Ray Romano.
And the first year I
which
got
was
hit by
the
Ray
best thing of
Romano.
all time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I-
I saw him hitting on 17th tee yesterday, and I was just like, or Sunday. Yeah, it was yesterday, and I was just like, man. he
Memories
hit me
of
there.
Saigon,
He hit
like
me
that you
there.
hear the chopper sound in the back, scared dog meme. Jeremy, I don't care about the rules anymore. We'll just
Yeah, I
move on.
understand.
I really am going to campaign for Lucy to go to a Columbia soccer match at some point. Just go to like the league. I think that's a great addition of off-roading. When I came in,
Maybe she doesn't want to go though. I mean,
You guys have scared me from going.
you should be scared. Like it was.
It seems terrifying, and I don't do well in stressful situations. I get tummy aches when I'm anxious, so I'm not even going to be able to do anything.
Or vents. I mean,
I thought that was just like a Disney Channel thing. I never thought people actually climbed at vents. I thought it was like a quicksand type of deal where it's just something you see on Disney.
You've never watched Die Hard?
I've seen Die Hard. I don't like Die Hard because because I'm really queasy with blood, and the scene where he has to like walk on the glass,
barefoot.
I can't do it.
I see those people climbing through a vent to get into a sporting event, and I feel sad for them. I get a life.
I
What are you doing?
I don't know how journalism works and reporting, but I have a source, a text that somebody affiliated with that stadium that doesn't lead anywhere, and that inside there, like they talk to an AC guy that works at the stadium, and they're like, there's probably people inside an empty wall. Like there's where those people are climbing right now leads nowhere.
Yeah, so hopefully they turned around and realized that there were a bunch of people that were. I saw a credentialed media member got tackled by police. I know people that had credentials to this event and weren't able to actually access their credentials because of everything that went down. So thankfully you weren't at this one, Lucy, but I wanted to talk to you about it with all your experience. But then I stumbled upon your purse, and I thought this was like a really cool purse. For those that don't have the video accompaniment, the handle is a ruby red phone, like Dorothy's shoes, but it's an old school handset for a phone. And I was like, wow, what a really cool thing that you picked up thrifting, because I know you go thrifting, but that's not an old school purse.
No, it is not. So most of you know it was my birthday last week. Thank you. And I always give myself something nice for my birthday. And I saw a TikTok of this, and I was so easily influenced, and I needed it. It's Betsy Johnson. Betsy Johnson makes like a bunch of weird, quirky stuff. She's a very famous designer. And so I saw this, and I was like, I need this purse phone bag. And so the coolest part about this purse phone is that it works.
What?
So Chris Cody is going to call me, and I'm going to pick up on my purse phone.
So you can direct all your calls to your purse phone?
Yeah. So if you like need to call me, I'll just pick up. Okay, so Chris is calling me. Look, you can see this ringing. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but I'm going to pick it up. Oh, hello?
Oh yeah,
It's a purse phone.
Hey,
what's
what's up, Lucy? How's it going?
That's amazing.
Do you know, like?
What are you doing
Do you
today?
realize if James Bond did this in the
too.
1960s, we'd all be like, "Get out of town! Get out of town!"
This is super cool. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, I'll talk to you later. Wait,
All right,
I
bye.
can hang up. I can hang up. You don't hang up.
All right, no, you
Yeah,
hang up.
she's got the satisfying. Can it click?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have this little button here that will like answer my calls and then hang up my calls, and then it has these little buttons here that will like adjust the volume, and I just put it and I click it back into my
But
phone.
you can't slam it down. You
No,
can't
I
do
can't
that.
slam it down, which
Right.
sucks, and I wish that the little like turn buttons worked on it, but I can't like direct any calls out of it. It's Bluetooth connected to my actual phone.
Do you have any actual life experience with hanging up a landline?
Yeah, I'm,
Like in
It's
anger?
a great feeling.
Yes.
It's dude, it's an underrated
oh my
feeling.
God, well,
Or a
like,
payphone.
Oh,
So-
have you ever used a payphone?
I've never used a payphone.
Me either.
And-
That's how you would get picked up from the youth fair.
Yeah, what youth fair?
The Dade County Youth Fair. Yeah, you
Well,
would
I'm
call.
not
You would
from
either beep your ride.
Yep.
Sometimes you'd beep a crush like 8008.
By beep, you're saying pager, right? Like a pager, right?
Wait, what did you do?
Yeah.
Not to be a bummer, but when my parents got divorced, my divorce gift was a cell phone. And so I had a cell phone at a really young age, which my first cell phone, my homemade lava lamp exploded on it. And then my second cell phone, I lost in Toys R Us because that's how young I was. And so I've had like a bunch of cell phones, and I've had like the cool like flip to hang up cell phone, which I missed that a lot. And then I had a landline before my parents got divorced. So that's just another thing I lost. So, but now I have my purse phone, which I'm not going to give my number out, so no one call me. But my friends can call me.
It needs a satisfying
Well, it has a button.
feeling.
It
No,
has
the button doesn't do it. You got to
A
slam a phone down.
feeling, yeah.
It's super satisfying.
If you
to
watch
your-
Dante's Peak, Pierce Brosnan picks up a phone and he's like, "Put the town on alert," and he slams it, and
You can
it's like way
practice
more
on
effective.
my purse phone if you want, but please be gentle
We have to
with
put the
it.
town on alert.
Oh, and
got
for
it.
the audio listeners, my bag is super cute. It has cherries on it, and the phone is bedazzled.
Really? Now, can you see who's calling you when the call comes in?
No, so
That was another one of the charms of having a landline.
Right, you had no idea what you were getting. I mean, it could be
I would answer it as like a
Right.
6-year-old boy, and they would always say, "Hello, ma'am." I'm like, "What's your problem?" I lived with my grandparents at the turn of the century, which seems like a really dated way to do that, but I was in high school. This is when the PS2 came out, and they actually had a rotary phone, which made like calling for PS2s a mission because everything was press 2 for electronics, press 2. I don't have a touch-tone phone, so like I'm literally like going 2, nothing's happening because I don't actually type anything out on the rotary phone. So that's how old I am. But now I'm really excited to get home and at 4 o'clock play a video game like you wouldn't believe.
Speaking of 4 o'clock, the boys, me and Taylor streaming.
Wow,
NCAA
the
football
second it
25.
drops?
The second it drops, as you can see on screen, the boys going to be ready, 4 o'clock.
Why?
Biggest game on the planet.
Why are you doing this? I would not want to be on the internet the first time. I need to be by myself.
That's
experiencing
the thing.
this.
I hear you, but we're doing this for the masses that don't. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you don't have the opportunity to go out and get it. Like, we're doing it for them. So everybody in the chat, everybody who's listening, go check us out, 4 o'clock, all the usual places.
What a sacrifice. You're so brave.
Have you also told your wife this day is coming and that you're going to be a worse version of yourself?
She knows. And obviously she's pregnant and we're expecting and it's coming to the momentum is, hey, look, this is what I'm going to be doing. I just want you to know.
Newborn baby.
Not for long, Tony.
Newborn baby, though.
5 months, 6 months.
Low key, that's a great time to get into gaming because your social life is ruined anyways.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
you're just kind of leaning into it by doing that. But my wife and we both scheduled a lot of activities for this week. I'm going to a concert tomorrow night. Not too jacked about that now. I'm going on a boat on the weekend. Kind of already regretting that.
Get some rest, man.
Twisters is coming out. I'm doing Twisters.
I'm kind of
Are you pumped for Twisters?
I'm down. Are you doing a renting out the theater again?
Yeah, you want to come with?
What
Here's
day?
what I'm doing. You know my experience with the last Mission Impossible movie. I got a 4DX seat, and I didn't know what that meant. And so my wife and I, we order a bottle of wine. And I'm trying to pour it as Ethan is motorcycling or running, and it's just so now the challenge is I'm gonna wear all white to Twisters and drink a bottle of wine, and see what the damage is at the end of it. Because I'm doing 4DX now. Glenn Powell is a superstar. Superstar.
He's having a moment.
Dude, that dude is such a movie star.
So charismatic.
Dude, anybody, we're going to look back at that cast of Top Gun Maverick. Miles Teller had a huge gallery at the ACC.
He did.
That is going to king-make so many people. Not only did Tom Cruise save cinema with Top Gun Maverick, but he also entered in a whole new generation of Hollywood movie stars because we hadn't had those tentpole movie stars. And now Glenn Powell is going to breathe new life into the Twisters franchise. I'm really excited about this. Early reviews are good. I like Glenn Powell a lot. I saw his last movie too, which was like a direct-to-stream. It was about...
Is that the Hitman one?
Yeah.
I saw it.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, it was really
I
good.
That movie.
Yeah, I'm a big Glenn Powell guy. Danny Ramirez is also in Top Gun Maverick. He's a local guy. I think he went to Coral Park. Big Canes fan, friend of mine. His career is blowing the F up. He's in the trailer for the new Captain America movie. He's doing a movie with Joaquin Phoenix. I'm telling you.
So Tom Cruise is making careers.
Tom Cruise saved cinema.
Mm-hmm.
He should be thanked.
I
even
agree
though
with you.
He's, I know he's weird and it comes with a lot of baggage and stuff, but that dude is undeniably a movie star and he saved cinema and he should get a special Oscar for doing so.
I really like Glenn Powell, and I like that he keeps bringing his dog everywhere with him. Very cute little dog. But my thing with Glenn Powell is I'm getting a little nervous that we might be overdoing it because it feels like he's in every movie lately. And I like him. I think he's really good and charismatic and fun. But I feel like he has 2 more big movies in the upcoming future
We'll
to
get
turn
tired
into
of him.
Chris Pratt, where we're
Yeah,
hey, we
that's
just had a
always the
little
concern.
too much of you in one short period of time. So I think Glenn Powell should just chill out for a little bit. I heard he's moving back to Texas. I know he's a big college football fan, so he's probably playing the game.
Yeah.
So just, Glenn, take a little break, keep posting the dog content, and then come back so that we don't get too sick of it.
So lighten up
break.
on the Powell is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do a hit
But I
on
like
College
him.
Game Day.
I don't know, but for some actors, that doesn't, we had a lot of Tom Cruise early on, and that didn't seem to impact his career. He was fine.
No,
But
he
there's
came out
social
totally normal
media.
by it. Hollywood didn't make Tom Cruise weird at all.
I'm just saying we didn't get tired of Tom Cruise.
But you didn't have social media doing what is happening right now with Glenn Powell.
Tom-
Because if you go on TikTok or you go on Twitter right now, he is everywhere doing everything, doing TikTok dances, doing press tours where they're linking him to every single actress that he's in a movie with and doing the relationship baiting. But he's just the most charismatic person that exists right now, and you don't want to you want to like enjoy that charisma as opposed to overdoing it. I get what Lucy's saying.
I think I can make a solid argument that Top Gun Maverick is one of the most important movies ever.
Agreed.
Not just because it was awesome. It was a great movie.
It was the middle of the pandemic. It was the first time I went out to do anything during the pandemic.
We needed that to work so bad. I don't think you have things like Barbenheimer that happen afterwards. I went to the movies for Tenet, and it was not an event. We needed something to bring us back. But also, we're talking about Tom Cruise as if like we've never gotten sick of him. Tom Cruise needed Top Gun Maverick too. He really stuck his neck out for that. He needed that bad. Remember, the going clear thing kind of ruined Tom Cruise. It certainly canceled in terms of a lot of people left the Church of Scientology. A lot of people distanced themselves from it. Tom Cruise needed that.
He needed the movie, the role.
And also,
Yes.
we got stars. We ushered in a whole new generation of movie stars. That is one of, low-key, like the most important movies ever made.
Speaking of creepy Cruise, did you see him at Wimbledon yesterday?
No, I
Center court, right behind Kate Middleton. It was fantastic.
So my flight got delayed leaving. Tahoe is so beautiful, and I feel like they go out of their way to make it really impossible to get there.
Oh, it's hard, man.
It's really difficult. Yeah. My wife and I, we had made a commitment to start our dynasty at in the University in Nevada, #Battleborn. And then our flight got canceled at the airport, and we ceased being able to see ourselves there. You can negative recruit this place. It's not easy to get to. My flight got canceled, and it forced me to miss the Wimbledon men's final, which seemed like a dream matchup.
Yes.
Did the match deliver at all? Like, it's something that I wanted to dedicate all the time in the world for, and I couldn't. I was on a plane.
It did not deliver. Alcaraz is so good, and I'm not certain. I don't know how many people, especially within our crew, love tennis. I know you and I love tennis. We talk about tennis all the time, and Alcaraz, what he is doing is historical. He is 21 years old. He just won the French. He won on the grass courts of Wimbledon. 4 or 5 guys in the history of tennis have won those 2 tournaments in the same year. He's got the U.S. Open coming up. He's likely going to win that. The most impressive thing about Alcaraz yesterday, Mike, was that he took care of Djokovic, and he did so in 3 sets.
Mm-hmm.
And the
that
third
doesn't
set,
happen.
the third set, the Joker, he was pushing him. He was pushing him. In fact, he had 3 match points. Alcaraz did. He lost that game. Then it went to a tiebreaker, and Alcaraz somehow got past that mentally and was able to finish it off. But to see that guy beat the Joker in 3 consecutive sets on his court, that is his court. It's the surface he likes the most. And to have a guy now who has 4 majors at the age of 21, he's on path to be the greatest tennis player we've ever seen. Spain had a day yesterday.
Yeah, Spain had a day, no doubt, and they're also just going to boss tennis now. It seems like that's their thing. So it's really unfortunate that Djokovic is dealing with these injuries now, because he was still, prior to this recent injury stretch, he was still as good as he ever was.
Correct.
And so you could have that measuring stick for Alcaraz, but he's probably going to go on a bit of a Federer-like run in that, remember at the very beginning of Federer's run, Nadal wasn't on board yet. Murray was still finding his footing. Like the top guy.
Djokovic wasn't there yet.
Djokovic wasn't really, like he was really young. Like he was going up against the likes of Andy Roddick, and there was a huge gulf between Fed and the rest of the field. I don't think it's quite that, because guys like Medvedev and Sinner are going to push him, but he's pretty clearly better than them. And we'll see what that means for tennis, because I think there's a really special time that we're coming out of in men's tennis where I'll lump Murray in there too, because when Murray was healthy and he won
Murray
Wimbledon,
was great, yes.
His run was a little bit shorter, and his run actually just officially came to an end. But you had Wawrinka, like you had a bunch of guys operating in that generation. Stan, Andy, Nadal, Federer, Djokovic, 5 guys that if they were born just in a different time would probably be considered the greatest men's tennis player ever, because they just would have dominated the field.
Right.
They would have padded their stats so much.
Now it's just Alcaraz. Like, he has no one pushing him. It feels like the only guy pushing him is Djokovic. He's getting older. He's coming off the injury.
Sinner's there, and there's a lot of – look, American tennis is really good.
Yeah.
Like, we got a couple of guys that can possibly push him. And, you know, you've seen the Marty Fish documentary on Netflix. Like, these tennis pros, they become consumed with taking down the top guy. I don't think one guy is going to run it, but I do think Carlos is going to have the run of it for like a few majors.
Tennis is funny in that you always think, okay, the superstars are done. There's no one around the corner. But there's always someone around the corner.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know Alcaraz was going to be this. I didn't know he existed 3 years ago.
Yeah. And there's a couple of guys that can maybe rebound. Like Wawrinka was a guy that, he can actually be elite. I didn't really see that. Djokovic also started his career like, okay, is this guy going to be a bump in the road for these guys, or is he actually going to have a say? And you had those questions about him. I think I have questions about the surrounding field around Alcaraz right now. Like I could see them getting there. Like Tsitsipas, is he a guy that can turn it around because he has all the tools? Can he actually find that promise? I don't know. Jeremy, did you find like the Roger Federer run before like those guys got online?
It's crazy,
It's
right?
a crazy run because he won his first Wimbledon in 2003, and then he won three Grand Slams in 2004, 2 Grand Slams in 2005, 3 Grand Slams in 2006, and 2 Grand Slams in 2007.
Yeah, I think like
that's crazy.
Like the mid 2000s, like I think he lost to Del Potro, who was another guy that might have been like all-time great if he didn't get super hurt. But it wasn't.
It's like when Jordan played. There were just a lot of guys who weren't going to win titles because Jordan was there.
We've all kind of convinced ourselves that was what that generation was. It was just those 3 guys just ripping each other's heads off trying to get there. And no, like Federer had a pretty sustained run, and it took like several years of those guys running into that wall before they could finally topple him.
But this was interesting yesterday, and you'll appreciate this because you know this happened. With Federer towards the end, he was working so hard, and he was getting older, and still putting in the same amount of work, if not more, because he had to compensate for the fact that he was getting older. Then he realized, what am I doing all this for? I get to the finals, I can't beat the Joker. I can't beat Nadal in France, and I can't beat the Joker anywhere else. I'm out of here. I'm done. And I seem to sense that with Djokovic yesterday. It doesn't matter what I do, how hard I train.
I'm going
to get to the finals and play this guy, and I'm not going to beat him. He's a younger version of me.
Yeah, that's so. Like when Nadal burst on the scene, I know Nadal was always good on clay, and he was giving Federer like fits on clay at the French, right, at Roland Garros.
Yeah, it was 2005, 6, 7, and 8. It was Nadal in the French, and then 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then 17, 18, 19, 20, and 22.
Like the moment everything changed, though.
That's crazy.
You're laughing at it.
It's ridiculous.
The moment everything changed, though, was when Nadal beat Federer at Wimbledon. Because now he could do it at another.
That was 2008. He also
for
beat
my
him
money,
in
the greatest men's tennis match of all time. The 2008 final between Federer and Nadal. That was unbelievable. I could rewatch that match.
You're including the Isner match at Wimbledon, first round. That took 3 days.
They changed the rules because of that match. Because of Isner. No, there's a lot of great, there's a lot of scrappy. There's a lot of D-Gen favorites. Like, Isner's a longtime D-Gen favorite. Gail Monfils is another guy that you'd go to war with.
Is this the longest any sports show in the history of sports radio or podcasting has talked tennis? I think Roddick has a podcast called Served Up. I'm not even certain he talks tennis. I don't know. I'm just asking. Putting it out there. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Dane comes back tomorrow. Right. It should be
Get
noted.
Tennis in now.
We really shoehorned. We had 2 months of Stugotz's tennis takes, and we had to get out there.
I mean, Alcaraz, man. He's pacing to be the greatest player of all time. I love tennis. I never thought I would see someone better than Federer, Nadal, Djokovic. This guy's better.
I'm not
better.
There. I'm not there yet. He's really great.
Now, he made the people, they had the Champions Dinner last night, and he made these people, all the people attending, wait around until 10 p.m. to eat dinner on a Sunday night. That is rude.
They do their dinner on the back end of the tournament.
It was last night.
I know the Masters do theirs like the front end before the tournament starts. The previous.
I like that.
They have a dance. It's like a ball, and you have dinner. But he was watching England and Spain, so he made everyone wait around till 10. They're rude. I mean, by the way, I'm not going if that's the deal. I'll eat at 7 and. You show up and I'm not there, too bad.
Stu, you got to start putting pressure on Alcaraz immediately, though, because you look at this run for Federer, you look at the run Nadal had at the French Open, and you need to see, all right,
do it 10 years in a row.
How many Grand Slams can you win early before that next challenge shows up for you?
He hasn't won in Australia yet. Do it down under.
You got to figure it out. Just start issuing challenges.
Are you going to challenge Marty Fish to do it against Steph Curry?
I mean, listen, Marty, the reason this meant so much to Marty is the year he won it, there were no fans there. And I've been giving him a hard time saying, do it in front of the fans. And so,
is that his only second win?
That's only his second win, yeah.
So last year he had the incident where he was leading on 18.
Someone,
Yeah.
So do it in front of the fans, and then the fans went out of their way to actively sabotage his championship last year.
Correct. And they did. They cost him a championship. Steph Curry won it, did not come back.
He won, to his credit, he won it with an eagle on 18.
and a hole-in-one
And he had a
earlier in
hole
the
in one
round.
as well. Tim Brown had a hole in one yesterday.
Yeah, he got a boat, but he lives in Dallas.
Just gets a check, right? They're like, you can take the
You
boat,
can
or
take
we'll
the
just
boat
cut
or
you.
take the. I guess there's a lake somewhere in suburban Fort Worth.
So Marty's upset because last year it was in front of the fans and he should have won, but some guy yelled whatever he yelled during his backswing. Yesterday he did win in front of the fans, but he won without Steph Curry being there. So do it when Steph is there.
I think people that don't watch this tournament are just thinking, oh, a bunch of celebrities playing golf. Who cares? Marty's Saturday
It's
golf.
unbelievable.
His putting
He's amazing.
on Saturday
Yes.
is an all-time golfing achievement.
Agreed.
I don't know the exact numbers, but it felt like over 6 putts of over 25 feet.
It was right up there, I'm telling you, with Nicholas back 9 Augusta 1986, the putting.
Did you see when the fan chirped him? So a fan Marty goes up to the green to putt for birdie, and the fan goes, "Hey Marty, hope you 3-putt," which is like, number one, who the F has a problem with Marty Fish and cares that much about to say that?
Oddly specific chirp, dude.
Yeah,
Someone who has money on someone other than Marty Fish.
well, that's what happened. Dude, that's what happened the year before. The dude that heckled Marty on the backswing, he was caught, and he said, "I'm sorry, I thought we were having fun out here. I have a bet on Steph Curry." So there is elements that you can gamble on this thing.
Right.
So the dude starts talking to Marty, starts chirping him, and Marty is like, "What is this guy's deal? We're all here trying to have fun." Marty buries a 42-foot putt and goes right at the guy. Talk your stuff now and whatnot. That fan got escorted, by the way. It's a pretty boss move.
Hell out of here.
Dude, to nail a 42-foot bird.
So at the players' meeting, they went out of their way to say, if fans are talking while you're playing, while you're swinging, point them out, and we'll take them out. So you weren't at the players' meeting. I snuck my way in, and I knew that rule going in.
Was Jerry Rice at the
Marty
players'
Fish
meeting?
rule.
Because something went a little viral
I
with
don't know
Jerry.
what's going on. What is happening with Jerry Rice?
We'll
Someone
escort
explain
them
it to me.
out, not take them out.
Jerry got in a
Good
dude.
clarification.
Jerry, it was an ugly video that got posted. I don't know. TMZ Sports had it. Jerry was making the walk from 17, which is a party hole, to 18.
Such a harmless chirp that he got.
The
opposite of the
was a
Marty thing was
credential-
at least very specific. This is just like, hey, the Chiefs have good receivers.
No, it wasn't a chirp. It was a credentialed media guy. Now, granted,
but it was kind of
context.
chirpy. It was like,
well, I could see where he would be bothered by the question because Jerry Rice, Niners legend.
But also, if you were in the players' meeting like I was the night before, you would have learned no questions while the guys are walking down a fairway.
Well, he wasn't walking down the fairway.
It doesn't matter. No questions while they're playing golf.
it looked like that little middle area between
Where there's
17 the
that's
basketball.
that's
no
where if
questions
you want a
there.
selfie, if you want an autograph, that's where you post up. Now, there's not typically media there, credentialed media there, asking you questions as you make that walk, but that is the fun walk of Edgewood. That's where you have your fun. And a dude with a credential went up to Jerry Rice as he's making the walk, and this isn't even like a tournament day. This is Thursday. This is the loose day. And he says, "Hey, Jerry, what do you think? How do you think the Niners receivers stack up against Kansas City?" Now, that could be loaded.
Even if the world,
San
even
Francisco,
with the Super Bowl, it's just a harmless question.
It's a harmless question. And it's coming from a credentialed media member. Jerry snaps.
Yep.
And he's like, "I will F you up right now." Like, the temperature of the room changed. Like,
he acted like he got disrespect. He's like, that was disrespectful.
He misunderstood the question.
No, he says, "I will F you up. Meet me. You say when." Like, the guy got hauled away. He was a credentialed media member. Like, he went back the next day. It was just an ugly scene.
But Jerry, and then I see him, he's all happy on Sunday. He's playing in the tournament. But there was another story there where I heard a guy, I overheard this conversation, telling security that Jerry Rice was rude to him, that he asked him to sign an autograph, and Jerry Rice snapped back, "Hey, you're a memorabilia guy. You're going to sell this thing for a lot more money."
I get that. I get
No,
that.
Mike, part of the
if
deal
Jerry
there-
recognizes like you're a memorabilia dealer and you're just trying to get one over, you're not actually a fan. I can get that one.
Yeah, but the guy wasn't. It was for his kid. Like, you're there, sign the stuff.
Oh, well, he was lying about it? Well, then
Yes.
I can't get behind that. I'm antsy today. Like, my feet have been moving. It's not because I'm hosting, but I'm playing with stuff on the table.
Why?
Like, I've done this before. It's because College Football 25 comes out today.
Oh, wow.
And I've been waiting a decade for this moment. And, as luck would have it, I got a schedule full of Zooms. It's just like I'm at the final turn. I'm down the stretch.
It's a bad day for you.
And it's just like I got so much stuff to do. I wasn't expecting to sit in this chair today. They're just trying to make this final day as long as possible. But I have the early access. So at 4 o'clock, I will not be watching you and Taylor. I will be building a dynasty for the ages on my own time at
Totally
home.
understandable.
But you, on our YouTube page, are going to be kind of unboxing this game and experiencing it all in real time with Taylor?
Absolutely. What we're going to do is we're obviously going to play the game, but we're going to take you through all of the different settings. We're going to go through all the Road to Glories and Dynasty modes and all the stuff that you can see in the
do
game.
all of that?
You're going to go through the settings.
Through it.
The sliders are a big
What
deal.
time's that at?
This guy doesn't get it.
Chris, you've been kind of.
This guy's got a PS1 being like, oh, yeah, I don't play those games.
I
Yeah,
did
he's
just ask
quiet.
Taylor out there. I was like, what are you guys on the PS3? What are you guys cooking with? Apparently, they're on the 5.
Yeah, it's hard
I
to
think
get.
I have the 4, actually.
Wow.
So
I'm not sure. I have a PS.
you think?
I got
have
a
the
PS.
original.
I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
You've kind of not been on board with the talks about college football. So you're just not a gamer at all?
I like college football. I like the old.
No, you don't.
college
No, you
football
don't.
game.
No, you don't. Because if you liked it, you would be
It's life.
on fire right now.
Yeah.
But
That's
you're
funny. You guys say talk to. Bet you I beat y'all. Beat y'all.
Okay,
Beat you
cool.
all.
Is that a threat?
Good tough talk.
What are you doing?
I would beat you by 4, Tony.
not. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Two
Spread
safeties.
More
what are you
than a
doing?
field goal.
Well, spread would be plus 3.5 for
thankfully,
me.
are you in with us for Tony Tonight?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Tony Show Part 2.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Tony Tonight is kind of like confusing.
It is. There's we got a couple things in the oven. Tony Tonight, different story. That's where I go
All
around
right. So
Miami and do
what?
stuff.
All right. So tell me
During the day.
what else we have.
Tony Show Part 2, The Return. We have the Tony Show that happened a couple of months ago.
It's like the Truman Show.
It's like the Truman Show, but this one is different. This one is back to the future because we're doing a couple things different.
And it's Tony.
And it's, well, yeah, of course. But as you can see, Wednesday, July 17th, starting at 7 o'clock p.m., The Tony Show 2 with a bunch of your favorite guests around here. Maybe Chris.
Wow,
Mike Ryan
Lewis
for sure.
made the title. Like Lewis's name up
Lewis,
on the
yeah,
thing.
well, he's Doc Brown in the photo.
Clearly
But
standing on a
really
box.
good, really good graphic though.
I wanted to tell Angel to leave the box that he was standing on, but it didn't. I didn't relay the message as quickly as I should have. But yeah, Tony Show Part 2, Wednesday, 7 o'clock. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna be playing PS2 games, which is why we're going
Oh,
back
there you go,
to the
Chris.
future.
We're going to be going through all the settings.
Again, you don't get it.
Wait, do I get to play Chris in
What
this
time
thing?
is that at?
That's the settings or the game?
So we're playing a bunch of retro games.
Yeah.
And we actually get to clap back at Chris. Like he's going to be playing games with us too.
He's gonna
I'm
be
in.
there playing.
Whoever wants the noise.
What games
it'll
are we
be brought?
We've got everything from Madden 07, NCAA Football 2006, which I think is what we're going to start on right there. We've got MVP Baseball. We've got NBA Live 2003.
We got MVP baseball.
All
Chris, I
the
know
retro
MVP
games.
baseball.
MVP, John Dowd, get out of here.
all the
Love that
retro
guy.
games we have in our arsenal for the Tony Show. Plus, we're going to be doing a best ball draft for the NFL season coming up with DraftKings, which is going to be very exciting.
I'm excited about the best ball draft, but we're going to have like the video game results kind of dictate where we're drafting.
I think so.
It's only right.
Now in the settings, are we going to have it where
You're
the
really
clock goes
seizing
really
on the
fast in
settings
between
thing.
plays?
It's
Or
an
we gonna
odd
have
thing to go
normal
over.
This
Well,
isn't
he's-
FIFA. That's not how it works.
You know what? You know what he's doing? He's not one of the cool kids, and he's trying to make us feel bad about it by seizing on the settings. You're not experiencing today the way that Tony and I are experiencing.
He doesn't
today.
understand like the
This
road
is-
to glory and what that means
What's
and
your-
how we can look through it.
Let's all go around and say our favorite setting. Mike, you first.
But the road to glory has nothing to do with the settings, is what Chris is saying. That's
No,
all.
but
Taylor
there's-
and Tony, they're going to walk us through.
we're going to walk through the settings. There's a lot of different things. Like you can disguise coverages now in NCAA Football 2005, or 2025, excuse me, where you couldn't back in the day, where you could show a cover 2, but actually be in a cover 1 man.
Wow.
So like there's a lot of different things that we can go through.
Ooh,
on
a
the
deke
settings.
play. I know how to show you my deke plays. You think I'm showing you the real play? No. It's a deke play.
personnel subs. I love the personnel groupings. Heisman to answer your question.
Now, if we're looking
sliders
at
on.
if we're looking at depth charts, now I'm in because I love
That's
a good
part
depth
of the
chart.
settings.
That's
and
part of
depth
the-
charts.
that's
It's
part of
I
the
am
whole
putting.
tour.
I
All
don't
in the
care how
settings,
low
Chris.
his rating is. My fastest receiver is gonna be in the slot. Shouldn't have said that. Just gave away some of the goods.
I like to put a corner at outside linebacker.
Oh, dude.
You could do that.
That was my move. And the Madden with Vic on the cover,
have
he
it.
was unstoppable, right? So what I would do is if you sorted your team by speed, you'd have a lot of
Oh, yeah.
dime corners and a lot of 5th and 6th guys in your secondary. They're speed demons, but they're not seeing the field. So replace your outside linebacker and have them essentially spy on Mike Vick, and that was the way to do it. If you ever really wanted to get crazy, and it depended on the guy that you were playing, if he was a one-trick pony and he was running with Vick the entire time, put Champ Bailey
That guy
at
sucks,
outside
by the way.
linebacker, and I would spy on Mike Vick, and that was the only way you wouldn't get run all over.
What's this cornerback? You have a 99 speed but a 32 return rating? Well, you're still a returner.
Yeah. Oh, always. Speed would dictate everything. I can make up the other 80%. I can't teach 99 overall speed.
See, I know the game.
It's the issue that we're going to have coming up for the Tony Show Part 2 is the guys that want to play as Michael Vick or Vince Young in the NCAA football game where all they're going to do is run.
Banned.
That guy sucks.
We got to ban Vic.
I think it's Mike Malley, by the way. Mike Malley's that guy because he played me again with Texas the other day.
Meadowlark.
Ended up beating him.
Attaboy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not All-Star. So you're unboxing. How long is tonight's you just said that you're going to go through a lot of things.
Today's show, who knows how long it's going to be.
You're just in the menus.
We're just in the menus. We're just looking around. All the new settings. Thank you, Chris. We're going to be playing games. We're going to be just unboxing.
Just want to look
it.
at uniform combinations.
I'm telling you, we're going to
hear
do
the
what I want.
music. I want to hear the music.
It might be 3 hours long. We don't know.
Should we turn home field advantage on or off?
It's always on, baby.
Why
don't
is
even
it
know
always
if that's a
on?
setting.
Why
It
would you
is a
turn it
setting,
off?
which is why we're talking about it.
But why
We
would
can-
you turn it off? Neutral fields?
No, we can't do neutral fields. You
No.
got to go home field advantage.
Right.
Plus, you hit the bumpers, and then the crowd gets pumped up, and then we can go through the toughest places to play, 1 through 25.
Oh, dude.
That's always
I
exciting.
can't-
Is it going to be jersey numbers or last names?
Lucy, how did you feel about the rankings list for the toughest places to play?
It wasn't accurate because Texas A&M was number 1, and they lose at home all the time. All the time. You lose at home to App State. That's no shade to App State. They're a great team, and you should stop scheduling them. But once you do that, you are no longer the toughest place to play.
There's this dude that works for ESPN Stats, or used to. He came out. He's like, when I was at ESPN, I was trying to actually quantify home field advantage in college football. Is one singular structure more difficult to play in if you're an opposing football team? And what he basically came back with is, if you got a good football team, it's hard to play at that good football team. There's venues that are probably bad right now because their football teams are down bad, that once their team gets good, can be electric and impossible. Look, Miami Hurricanes fans get a ton of. They had the nation's longest win streak at the Orange Bowl. It was one of these places that you could never go in and play.
But that works both ways because I'm guessing when Alabama was bad, Bryant-Denny Stadium was not one of the most feared places to play in the country.
Nick Saban's Alabama.
Now it is.
Nick Saban's Alabama lost at home to UL Monroe.
Yeah.
That was year 1 of the Nick Saban experience. Then, if you ask UL Monroe how it went for them afterwards visiting, they'd probably say pretty tough place to play. So it's all BS. Good football teams have good barns, essentially.
What's the kicking meter going to be?
The kicking meter I've seen is very tough, by the way, because it's one of the ones that are swishing this way, not the ones that you would go up that way.
You disagree, Lucy, with that?
Yeah, a little, and I'm going to use Iowa as an example, where every year Iowa is the most 8-4 team out there, and they always beat some team that is infinitely better than them at home when they're playing at night. It's like a weird thing that's happened when Iowa's a terrible team and they will beat Ohio State by. Iowa
We
beat
saw
Ohio
this with
State by
Purdue.
30 points. Yeah, Purdue is the same way.
Yeah,
where
if you're number 2 in the country and
Yeah.
your night game at Purdue, you're losing.
I do think there are certain venues that have, in the certain circumstances where I'm I know that team is going to win. So I do think there is something with that. I would say overall, there are places that are tougher to play, and I think there's a lot of validity to if you're a good team, you're going to have a good crowd. But I really do think there's something magical about certain venues and times of day, and I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying, but I also think it's just
Provo on a Saturday night, Mike.
It's
Death Valley at night with the tiger going down the sidelines.
First order of business is not scheduling that for my program. I am not going to Provo. I get you, but it's also revisionist. There are times where I'm wow, there's no team that can come into this stadium and match this energy. We're going to freaking dominate these guys. And then I'm headed to my car because it's 45-3 Florida State. And that place gets evacuated. If Mario Cristobal and his coaching staff for that game were in charge of the stadium operations yesterday, we would have had no issue. I've never seen so people like on message, ready to go and file out in an organized manner than I did for that FSU game. But then there were also like crazy energies where you're nervous. No one thinks that Notre Dame headed into the turnover chain Notre Dame game, the one game that
night was electric.
There's the one game that Miami Hurricanes fans have over the last decade, which is like, oh, can you imagine the electricity in that place? No one thought we were going to win that game. No one thought we were going to win that game. And then afterwards you leave, no one was beating us. It was incredible.
No, I think there's something to it, though, in, like, the specific, like, architecture of the stadium, where, like, Penn State is such a tough place to play, even though it has less capacity than Michigan, because you're so close to the field and it's so tall and it traps the sound. Same thing with Washington, where you have the overhang and it traps the sound. I genuinely think there are places that are tougher to play, not only because of the crowd, but legitimately because of the architecture of the stadium. Like, Oklahoma State, I was shocked. It's not a very large stadium, but it's really loud because it's built with brick, and so it traps the sound really nicely. So I definitely think that there are places that are just tougher to play, even if the team may not be as great.
That's why I'm hopeful that if Miami ever has a good team, it could rekindle what was happening in 2017, where people from College Game Day said that's the second loudest place I've ever been to behind Death Valley at LSU.
Yeah, I mean, our stadium constantly feels like and looks like it's going to break, and that's why it's called the Bounce House, because literally it is shaking as people are jumping up and down,
Jeremy,
which is why we feel like there's a big field advantage.
It's legit. Like,
It's
I went there to hand UCF its national championship trophy that we made.
I was there.
College Game Day was there too. I was really impressed with that game day atmosphere.
It was crazy.
I was really scared because I walked through the concourse as the guys were bouncing, and that place was insane.
When you're
that
walking
night.
Underneath and you're looking up and seeing the way that the structure is bouncing, they've told us that it's secure. They keep saying that it's fine, but I'm constantly worried that one day it's just all
They
gonna fall
lost to
apart.
West Virginia at home by 14 last year.
UCF?
West Virginia's back.
Didn't they?
Tony,
They weren't good last year.
Tony, what are we
They're
thinking?
winning the Big 12
What
this
are we
year.
thinking for weather?
The stadium's only as good as your
Weather's
team.
always
That's
random.
my point.
Random?
No.
Yeah,
You're
but
gonna,
I don't like when snow is happening in like a warm weather city. Like, we
Oh,
can't
that's
have
the worst.
warm
Yeah,
like
you
snow
can't do that.
here. You know what I mean?
So we agree.
Unrealistic.
Random. We agree.
Tony Show, Part 2, Wednesday.
So I'm like falling in the trap, and I think it's because I want to avoid the discussion, just because I'm still like woozy from everything that happened over the weekend. It does feel nice to be like doing our normal show, have it be light and funny, and not be constantly reminded about it. But like just during the break right here, Stugotz and I were saying like tonight's kind of a huge night for the country. This is kind of a massive week.
It's a massive night. It's a massive opportunity for Donald Trump. I'm actually interested to see if he's going to try to unite this country, if he's going to do what it is that he said he was going to do, which is, and by the way, Donald Trump is a very lucky man today to be alive. And the security breakdowns, we will be looking at those for a long, long time because there were many. But it is an opportunity, and it is going to be interesting to see if Donald Trump indeed tonight tries to unite our country, because he does have the opportunity to do that. I think for a lot of Mike, I think for a lot of people, half the country, you had for the first time, there were legitimate reasons. Listen, you could be on any side of the political landscape that you want to be on. Okay, that's what our country is all about. But for the first time, I think everyone united in the fact, like, whoa, this is crazy. We have arrived at a crazy place in this country, and Donald Trump and Joe Biden both have the responsibility to try to clean that up. And we'll see if it starts tonight. I'm interested to see.
I think I know the perspective of some people listening to us right now, and they might think like you're foolish if you have certain expectations. I would say that this one's different, and people can remain hopeful. I have tried my best to kind of squelch any of the feelings that I have. Like, okay, so he's going to be presidential today, but will the rhetoric pick up when he starts doing campaign hits afterwards? And I think we have enough of a resume there to have our concern warranted a little bit. But he's never been faced with an assassination attempt where by inches he is still here, and hopefully every side takes an opportunity to kind of tone the rhetoric down, because the political landscape got more and more extreme when the talk around it got more and more extreme, and I do really hope that this is a decompression point for everybody to kind of equalize and realize that we're heading down a path where politically motivated violence is happening more, and that's not the American way. And unfortunately, mass gatherings and violence attached to them has been a staple of American culture. And I really think that this becomes more of an opportunity to do something about gun violence in this country, because we've missed every opportunity we've had in previous years. This is an opportunity to really do something, because there were a lot of good guys with guns there, and a bad guy with a gun almost killed the former president of the United States.
I mean, the fact that a 20-year-old kid can purchase an AK-47, walk through a field, get to a rooftop that's 150 to 200 yards away from a former president and a guy who was running for president, leader of the free world. Yeah. The fact that that can happen in this country...
And spray a crowd. Someone died from this. Other people got hurt.
...is absurd. The fact that someone in this country can go buy a gun that shouldn't have a gun, that can buy an assault rifle and walk into a school and shoot it up, is absurd. I want to say that the gun laws are going to change in the United States of America, but I think we're all smart enough to realize that they're not. So unfortunately, I do not see that as something that will, be a positive from what happened over the weekend, because there aren't many positives that would be a positive. I am so doubtful that that's going to happen. Mike, if it didn't stop after Sandy Hook, if it didn't stop after Stoneman Douglas and Parkland, it's not stopping.
No.
I'm fearful that it will.
Well, hopefully it doesn't take like a president dying. Thankfully, he survived this attack on his life. You would think that, look, I'm here. I survived this. This is an opportunity to do something, because if anyone can roll into a secured location and feel like this isn't going to happen, it's the former president of the United States. It's been several years since there has been an assassination attempt on one of our leaders over here on the highest office. There have been other government officials that have fallen victim to this. If the former president himself is falling victim to a mass shooting, this would be something, conventionally speaking, that you could reach across the aisle and get bipartisan support for. And it would be really disheartening to hear someone he's a victim in this, someone that was a victim of gun violence, kind of still cape up for it when, again, a lot of good guys with guns over there. I do hope that that's the opportunity. My expectations, just knowing what the company line has been from political leaders on that side of the aisle, I don't really have great hopes and expectations for that. But one thing that can change today is the political discourse and our approach to it. It's a time for civility. It's a time to tone down the rhetoric. I really hope that there aren't attacks on, like, vocal attacks that just galvanize and get people more and more extreme on their beliefs. I do think that it's an opportunity to bring people together.
And sadly, this is something that happens. It's commonplace throughout the world, right? Like Mexico had an election where they had, I think, 30 candidates assassinated. Right? Like Haiti's prime minister was killed, right? Like Japan, like there's been a lot of this throughout the world, and it's scary to see it now in the United States, where the last time we saw it was 40 some odd years ago. So it's like things are changing, and hopefully, like Mike, you said, this can be like a stopping point for everybody to say, like, all right, we can't let this get too out of hand. This is insane.
It's a gun issue. I know it's a headline grabber. There was an assassination attempt on a president, but it is, and a lot of people want to politicize this. How can you not when there's an attempt on a political leader's life? But again, there was a large gathering of people in a really secure location, and still an assault rifle made its way on the periphery and affected that event. And one person died, several others were hurt, including the former president, and I really hope that things change. So I wanted to keep all the Trump and conversation around the weekend on the front end on its island, because I don't know how to transition out of that. And yet here I am having to do a segment and transition out of that.
Totally on me, because I didn't think you probably thought there's no way Stu wants to go for a second round of this.
No.
But I did.
I wanted to start with another pop culture conversation, because Chris, you really lashed out at us for liking this college football game, and you weren't a part of the conversation. You're not part of the excitement. That's all right. I'm with Tony on that level. But while we were having that conversation on one end of the room, there was another conversation revolving another pop culture moment happening on the other side of the room. And I guess I'm the Venn diagram, at least in this office, of someone that's into both discussions. I'm talking, of course, about Katy Perry's new single.
Lucy and I have been working on a transition from the Trump conversation to the Katy Perry conversation, and it had to do with ears bleeding because Katy Perry's new single is an absolute disaster. It is a horrible song, and the pandering within this song, Woman's World, that it somehow is the most like reductive version of feminism that anyone's ever seen.
It sounds like AI. ChatGPT came up with like a women's rights song.
It sounds like a song that would be played as free use music that you download to play like on a reality show during a changing scene.
This is the meanest Jeremy's ever been.
It is
torching her.
horrible. It's one of the worst songs I've ever heard. And it's already gone through the cycle of being a meme and then going away because that's how bad it is. It's not even the type of bad that you can laugh at. It's so bad that no one even wants to listen to it.
Morbius bad. Madam Web bad, in which like it becomes a meme, but still no one will financially support this, and it won't actually gain pop culture traction because no one wants to actually experience the art.
Yeah, Katy Perry's had absolute hits over the years, and she was someone who was able to like have this fun kind of tongue-in-cheek way of writing pop music before. This is produced by Dr. Luke, who, you know, if you don't know, is just kind of a monster within the music industry. And the idea that he was behind this song that's supposed to be sort of women's empowerment, the music video is insane. He and 6 writers. I mean, Lucy, the music video is out of control.
So I watched the music video a couple times, which has destroyed my YouTube algorithm, but I'm going to explain the music video to you. I don't know if we want to play it at the same time, but I honestly think it's funnier without the
We're going to play the
explanation.
B-roll. We're not going to play the music.
Okay. So basically, Katy Perry shows up, and she's dressed as Rosie the Riveter, but like a hot Halloween costume. And her and these girls are pissing in urinals, and they're working on construction sites, and they're singing about women. And they're like, we're the best, we're the women, and we piss in these urinals. Then she turns into a deflated balloon. Then she blows herself back up, and then she starts walking. And then she comes on this like dystopian sort of like destroyed society.
Whoa, where's that
going? Like there's like a gay couple making out, and you're like, why are you here? This is a woman's world. And then she gets a gas pump and she puts it in her butt cheek and she starts filling up her butt cheek with gas, I'm assuming. And then she goes and Trisha Paytas shows up, who's like a weird TikTok-y influencer, and they start driving this monster truck and she's putting on makeup, and you're like, What happened with the gas pump, though? Like, what was the purpose of that? Because she already blew herself up when she was a deflated balloon. But then she shows up at this girl's house, and this girl's house says she's, like, filming a TikTok. And Katy Perry's like, I'm going to film this TikTok with you. And then she films the TikTok. And then the girl's like, oh, my God, I just filmed a TikTok, but has no idea who Katy Perry is. Then Katy Perry steals her phone and a ring light, and she goes and hops on a helicopter. And the girl's like, what are you doing? That was my TikTok. And who are you? And then she's like, I'm Katy Perry. And then she flies off on a helicopter. But she's, like, hanging off the side of it the whole time. And that is feminism.
Is it safe to say that this is satire? Because I saw the video for the first time today, and I thought I kind of knew what she was going for. And her career, she's done a lot of satirical stuff. Like, she burst on the scene with I Kiss a Girl, and I liked it. And, like, the video, like, it was kind of parodying the times.
It was satire, and you always know satire is really good when you have to come out later with a video and be like, hey, guys, this was satire. So they released a video of her in her Rosie the Riveter outfit being like, that was satire, which, like, it was obviously satirical. But the thing with, like, satire is that I don't think you can half-ass it or, like, half gasoline butt cheek
half gasoline ass.
But the song itself is terrible, and it's not satire. She's like really was like very proud of
the song. Is very bad.
The song is a really bad song,
rough.
And the lyrics, like I saw someone comment that it was like if a bunch of men came together and wrote a song about women, and it's also like you could tell that it was like something they tried to pitch for the Barbie movie, and they were like, we don't want this.
Yeah, it's like
this is not
it's straight to
what we
DVD
want.
Barbie.
Yeah, really bad. And so the satire doesn't work when the song isn't satirical, even though if the song had been satirical, she might have done something.
Yeah.
She might have like cooked with this like Ray Dunn feminism.
Yeah, because like the video, I understand what she's going for, but I'm listening to the music as a video is playing, and I'm like, there's nothing of substance here. It's just a bunch of like rallying cries that you've seen like on sale at Walmart. and which he even pokes fun at in the video, like the live, laugh, love stuff. Like, I get that, but why isn't the song at all interesting?
The song is straight up bad, and I think it's probably worth noting that like this song was supposed to be a feminist anthem, and the guy who produced it, Dr. Luke, is alleged to be have done some very bad things to women.
Wait, so you said she flew away on a helicopter?
She did, and the girl was like, "Who are you?" And I said, "You guys just filmed the whole TikTok together, and you didn't even learn who each other like were." And then Katie said, "I'm Katy Perry."
Well, she's holding a female ring light.
Yeah.
Was she holding from a ladder? I've always wanted
like half
I've
on
always
the
wanted to
ladder.
do a getaway on a helicopter where I'm attached to the ladder. Was that from Batman?
It's
Which
from
Batman?
Batman,
Yeah, the shark repellent.
Yeah.
Where he has a shark attached to
You
his
wanted to
leg.
do that.
I've
huh?
always thought if I was ever going to make a getaway from a helicopter, I'd want to do it from a ladder.
That's the way to do it, right? Yeah.
Put the town on alert. Limited fake Pierce Brosnan from Dante's
not
Peak.
bad.
It's a vibe.
Hasn't this song debuted at like #1? Like it's atop all the charts.
That's how this
no?
works.
It's fallen out of the charts, off the charts. What's the term? I don't know.
I think off the charts.
off the charts. It's not on.
That's
the
how you know
charts
something
anymore.
is really
Off
bad.
the charts is a good thing.
That's how you know something is really
yeah,
bad.
It's not,
It is a
yeah,
good thing.
whoa.
Right,
It's
that's off the
it's not
charts.
off the charts in the
Right.
good way. It's off the charts in a bad way. And I would say listen to the song if you want to experience it for yourself. But I care about the listeners of the show, so don't listen to the song and then thank me later one day when you're walking through a Kmart and you hear it.
So you don't think it's going to have a second life because like everybody laughing at it? That this is? Do you guys remember when the internet had convinced movie execs that people actually wanted to see Morbius? Like, no. Like, you just released it at the wrong time. We are ready now because the memes were so good for Morbius. Do us a favor and please re-release this. And then even fewer people saw it.
The only version that I can imagine this becomes popular is if there becomes a trend on TikTok where it's like people showing their cat, and it's like the lyrics are sexy, confident, so intelligent. She is heaven sent, so strong, so soft. That might work if you're just showing a video of your adorable cat or dog or pet of some kind, and maybe it trends and as a meme becomes something. But I don't even know if this is going to be one of those ones that gets a second life because people are making fun of it. I think it's just going to become irrelevant pretty quickly.
Honestly, with like the events of the weekend, like it's gone. Like there's just no way it's going, because that was like the funny thing that everyone was talking about.
Like we could
Then
actually enjoy this light conversation making fun of this.
Then the shooting happened, and it was like, all right, we're done. And I don't think it's going to make a return. And she has been like promoting this for a long time, and it was just not very good. And I would say try again, but if it's going to be like the first time, maybe just don't.
It definitely missed its window because after 4 p.m. Eastern today, nothing else exists other than CFB 25.
Wait, Lucy, are you telling her to retire? Like,
No,
don't
I'm
ever
just
try
saying.
another song again?
It's a bad. She kind of. This was.
You can't go out on that though.
So this was supposed to
Everyone's
be.
going to forget about it.
This was supposed to be a comeback record for her because I know
Yeah.
she was doing like the Idol stuff, but in terms of like being an active pop star with active hits, she was doing like a nostalgia tour residency in Las Vegas. She needed.
Look, she has a new
a hit.
album coming out. There's a chance that one of the other singles is better, and the marketing team just made a horrible decision on choosing this as the first one. But this is not the way you want to come
It's
back.
hard to
if you're
come back
making
from
a comeback.
that.
It's really bad.
It's really hard, especially like when you're of a certain age, when you go away for a while. Fergie did this. Fergie had huge hits. Left the Black Eyed Peas, was a big star in her own right, went away for a little bit, tried to come back with a stinker of a single, and out of it.
National anthem.
And Katy Perry was like in a run of incredible female pop music in like 2008, 2009, 2007, where it was Rihanna and Beyonce and Taylor Swift and Katy Perry and Lady Gaga all at like the early points of their careers. But now we're in a new run with a new generation of female pop music with Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Roan and Olivia Rodrigo, who are all young
I knew two
and
of
just
those
putting
three.
out hits, like absolute bangers. And it's going to be a lot tougher for
Does Sabrina have like an album, or does she just put out a new single every 3 weeks?
Presently, she has 2 singles out that are both, I believe she had the #1 single in America with Espresso, and then she topped herself with Please, Please, Please.
Yeah, I was driving from
That
Reno.
song's great.
I was driving from Reno to Tahoe, and I heard
That's
Sabrina
a drive.
I heard Sabrina Carpenter on the same station 3 different times. It was Kiss FM
Don't
in LA.
embarrass me, mother. Sarah Carpenter song.
Are you saying in a
Banger.
1 hour drive that song was played 3 times, same station?
No, it wasn't the same song. It was a
Sarah.
different song, and I knew Espresso because that's been pretty unavoidable.
Yeah, that song was huge. That's like a song of the summer type
thing.
song.
Tony, it's Sabrina, not Sarah.
Of course, Sabrina Carpenter.
Thanks for correcting Tony on that one. Did you actually consume any good pop art late over the weekend?
Yeah,
or was it all just like Katy
Well, I
Perry?
went and saw I saw Longlegs, the new horror movie with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that. I've been busy. I wanted to get around to it, and now I'm never going to do anything ever again because College Football 25 comes out today. But how is that?
So first of all, really, really good movie. If you're
By Neon, that's a good. They're kind of A24y. They come out with good stuff.
Well, and the big thing that I think a lot of people have realized now is, if you market these movies well, you can have huge opening weekends.
Did it have a big one?
It shattered all of the expectations. I think it made $22 million, and they projected that it would make $8 million.
Whoa!
A very, very creepy movie. Nick Cage is pretty horrifying to watch. But what's been really fun about
Is it still perfect on Rotten Tomatoes?
I don't know if 86%. It still is at the moment.
Oh, really?
86%. It did make $22.6 million.
Right, which is crazy. And it was all seemingly because of the marketing, because I know Lucy was saying earlier, like, she's seen a lot on TikTok about it. That's where I saw what was going on, as did my wife. And what's really funny, and I know we have it available for video at some point, but like, their Twitter presence and their graphic design has been great too, because they're acknowledging what a big movie it's been, but they also had a graphic that was marketing the movie, saying #1 movie in America, and then in small print, after Despicable Me 4. And just like for a horror movie, the tweet says "Hail Satan," and it has this horrifying image of like the shadow of Nick Cage's character, and then it has "After Despicable Me 4" on it. And it's just priceless. But the way that they've marketed it, it had a huge opening weekend, and it's not a jump scare horror movie as much as it's like a psychological thriller that's going to leave you a bit disturbed.
That's my favorite
I really
type.
Enjoyed it.
Have you ever watched Hereditary?
I haven't. That's one that I really want to.
Hereditary
Because
for me
of this, I now have a
life?
list that I'd really like to watch.
Hereditary is, like, for my money, the scariest movie I've ever seen. It's the greatest horror movie ever. That's #1. Exorcist is #2. And while those movies did have jump scare elements to it, it was all about those movies stayed with you. I'm a huge Nicolas Cage guy. And I wanted to see this movie
His
because
performance
anytime
is
horror movies get, like, at a time this had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, like, okay, this is going to be something that you're going to want to see. It's just a matter of getting out there. So maybe when CFB 24, when CFB 25 becomes CFB 26, and that, like, 2 weeks prior, I can actually make some time in my social life for this. It seems pretty dynamite over there. The one thing that I did see on social media promoting this movie was really effective in that it was tracking the actress's heart rate when she sees Nicolas Cage's character, and in real time, like, it jumps
It's like
up
170 beats per minute or something.
Yeah, like, source, just trust me, pal. But
My Apple
it was
Watch.
it was effective in getting
Every actor in this movie did a fantastic job. Like, that's the other part, is there are several great performances, and the people who needed to be disturbed by Nick Cage's character sure as heck felt like it, and the people who needed to stay steady felt authoritative, and it just, everybody really was cast very well. But the way they told the story was interesting. And actually, the director of this movie is a guy named Oz Perkins. But what's crazy about that is...
What else has Oz Perkins done?
So not only was he...
Goes around to teams and does the
nerdy guy in Legally Blonde, but his dad played Norman Bates in the original Psycho.
Oh, yeah?
So his father was Psycho, and now he is writing and directing horror movies himself, which is just a kind of creepy connection. Their whole family history, if you want to go down a rabbit hole on Wikipedia, his mom was on a plane that was hijacked in 9/11. His dad played Psycho and had a whole crazy backstory. Now he's making these horror movies. It is a fascinating cast of characters in real life, but this movie it's worth seeing. Like, if you're into that type of movie, it's certainly worth it.
And I'm super, like, Nicolas Cage has kind of become a joke, but Nicolas Cage has taken roles for a lot of different reasons, a lot of financially motivated reasons.
Mostly money, Mike.
But if the script is good and it demands a good performance, Nicolas Cage has shown with movies like in Pig and whatnot that he can meet the script with a performance and knock it out the park. And that's great because at this stage in his career, most people consider him like an overacting joke.
His final scene on screen is one of the truly most disturbing things that I've ever seen.
Did you say overactor?
Mike said overactor, and then I think it's from
Liar,
where someone calls him
I'm concerned because you guys, I was kind of sold on at least trying the movie out. It's 86 Rotten Tomatoes, 86%, but that's critics. The fans have it at like 62%.
That's because they're getting scared.
Me.
That's because they're getting scared.
Right.
Yeah, but that concerns me. I trust the fans more than the critics.
Yeah, but if that metric was around when people were passing out and vomiting while watching The Exorcist,
Right.
I imagine didn't have a good time. Someone yacked all over my food. Didn't have a great time. Like someone had an emotional breakdown because I was eating popcorn and this girl starts projectile vomiting and does something with a crucifix that I wasn't expecting. Like I can understand why the audience would be like less inclined to give something a positive review.
And there are some religious undertones in this one too that might isolate certain people who went in with one expectation and then end up coming out with "Hail Satan" as it says on Twitter. So that might upset some folks.
So definitely watch it.
I would say it's worth watching, especially. I mean, you're such a big Nick Cage fan that like his performance it's crazy. And I was really like blown away because of some of the things that everybody feels about Nicolas Cage at this point in his career. I was really like impressed by the way that he met this creepy character in the place exactly where it needed to be.
Maybe make some time for it during the off season when I'm, you get your
Twister double feature
on the flight to go recruit a 5-star.
Yeah, you can DM them sometimes. So I think maybe I can do that because I work at the group's pace. Because you do your off season all together. I got like 7 dudes in my online Dynasty.
Oh, we have like 30-something.
Yeah,
Charles McDonald, friend of the show.
There's no way. Like, that's going to fall apart. I'm telling you right now. Because you all it's going to be impossible to get 30 people on the same schedule to do the off season. You're just signing up for a mess.
Tony.
6-7's the right number.
What difficulty are we looking at, Tony? You thinking Heisman, All-American?
I think All-American is what the online, like, regular...
You got to go Dynasty.
Start off with Heisman and just have sliders up.
Don't you work your way up to Dynasty? I mean,
well, Dynasty is what
Dynasty
you
is
do.
what you start
Heisman
year
is
one.
where you
Difficulty level.
Program.
Settings.
Yeah, in the settings. Yeah. That's why I need to go over the settings so people like you can understand.
And you have to.
Thank you.
And you're online.
I'm
Do you
there
have
now.
Do you have rules for prestige?
We have rules coming. We're figuring that out.
No, you can't have
He's
anybody
heard of
try to
them.
start a dynasty with Alabama. Get the F out of here.
Taylor might be starting with Alabama.
No, you can't do that.
He might be.
Cheater!
No,
He
prestige, 3 stars and below. What are you
He
doing?
might be. I don't know.
Dan will be back in tomorrow. Obviously jet lagged from a trip over in Africa, but full cast in with the whole show. Back as you loved it, like it never left. Back tomorrow.
He should try the sphere on for size. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's jet lagged.
But our coverage does not stop just because Dan is not here. We've got Amin and Juju out at Summer League doing all the hard work for Oddball. It is presently really hot in Las Vegas. The forecast, I think I saw, is 107 degrees out there. Amin properly in really cool Rocky Balboa shorts. We like that. Well, those are the Apollo Creed shorts, before you correct
the Creed
me.
shorts that he gave to Rocky, correct?
Yes, yeah. And then Rocky takes it when he fights for his dear friend's honor in Rocky IV, where
he kicks Drago's ass.
He ends the Soviet Union.
Yes.
It's just an incredible film. Amin
Brought the
Al-Hassan.
entire country together, Mike.
It really did. And we
yes.
can use something that galvanizes us right now.
Yes.
Before CFB 25 comes out, I may watch Rocky 4, and that's it. That's it. I'm done. But Amin is out there covering Summer League with Juju Gotti and Oddball is doing great stuff out there. Welcome aboard, Amin. How are you doing in this heat?
My idiot producers will say, hey, we're going to do the hit, but we're not going to do it from inside of the set. We're going to do it outside on Fremont Street to let everybody know you're in Vegas. Hello, I don't need to prove that I'm in Vegas. I'm just here. And as I'm here, as I said, it's ridiculously hot. It is so hot. I got Juju out here making breakfast. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's so hot you can fry an egg and bacon.
Oh my gosh, we're doing the morning show gag.
Wow.
Yeah, where you show the local news gag where you show how hot it is by grilling. Are you actually going to, that's on a pan. Are we actually going to eat this?
This is real deal breakfast. This is our breakfast. Juju's responsible for it. And guess what? The way it's cooking, I better hope I like my eggs over well done, because they know over easy. He's over here, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that turkey
Is
bacon?
Is it already like bubbling? How long is the frying pan been out on the
Let's pan back to the
sidewalk
pan.
over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
can we pan to the pan
Well,
real quick?
Absolutely could pan to the pan. The frying pan's been out here a little bit before we let Juju wait
Oh my
until the start of
God.
the segment. There you go. Look at it.
He's scrambling them. I mean,
Yeah.
Fortunately for Bronny James, he's got some egg on his face. A lot of outsized attention to Bronny James, but this is what he asked for, and the performances have not exactly blown folks away. I mean, what do you make of the whole Bronny James thing?
Mike, I could not disagree more. I saw, I'm a basketball expert. I watch players. I see the things that you as a casual layperson do not see. And so what I did was I had our crack research staff, not to be confused with our research staff on crack, put together a little highlight reel of all the things that Bronny has been amazing at Summer League. Roll it. All right, guys. Bronny exhibits so many things, veteran savvy. Look at the way he's sitting on the bench, man. Like, most rookies don't sit at that kind of level. He's got a great ability to sit on the sideline. He's got that. Look at that focus in the stare. Also, very important, confidence. Hold that follow through up, buddy. Don't let these people know that you can or can't shoot. And what's up? You turn it over, what do? You go back and you get it. You fix your mistakes. You wipe up that spilled milk, and then you spill some more milk. That's what you do. That's an NBA player. And, of course, a nose for the ball. Look at this. Some might say this is an uncontested rebound. I say he noticed it before anybody else. He went up there and got it. Let's show it one more time. And finally, that touch from outside. I know a lot of people say, he's one for eight. No. Look at that follow through. Look at that. Oh, we'll slow down for you guys with a face on it. That was a made shot right there. You cannot deny Bronny James, NBA caliber player.
Beyond Bronny, is there anything actually of note going on at Summer League? Because, I mean, I'm getting ESPN mobile alerts anytime he gets blown by an opposing player. It's the Bronny mania is probably a little too much, and the play doesn't dictate all this coverage, but I understand why we're there. Is there anything actually worth talking about, though?
Well, I got to tell you guys right now, we're about 3 years away from changing the name of the NBA to l'Association de Basket du National Américain, because it's nothing but French players taking over. Alexander Sarr, Zachary Richardson. The list is endless of French nationals who are out here dominating at Summer League. Other than that, to be honest with you, I could talk about Reed Shepherd. I could talk about, Stephon Castle, some of these other guys out here. But really, all I want to talk about how hot it is. It is so freaking hot. I'm getting sunstroke out here. I'm trying to stay hydrated. It's not working very well. Let's check on Juju how good the breakfast is going. Oh.
Wow.
that an omelet?
That is, where do you get all the fixins for it? That is actually that is a legitimate breakfast place skillet right there.
Cook it.
That
Juju Gotti is a professional, ladies and gentlemen. When you put him on scene, on location, he doesn't just come empty-handed and say, hey, what do I do? Where's my mark? He's out here coming with his own reserves. And I won't lie, man, I'm not a pork eater, but I think it looks pretty good.
Like, he's really dressed it up for folks. Like, he's not half-assing it.
We got hash browns, too. We got tomatoes, mushrooms, all types of stuff. We got people stopping in the middle of the street because they're so impressed by Juju's cooking skills right here in sunny Las Vegas. Ladies and gentlemen, they tell you that when it's 118 degrees, you can't really do much. Guess what you could do? You could make a hell of a breakfast at 9 in the morning.
Wow, let's zoom in on that. That looks
amazing.
Legitimately delicious.
Yeah. I mean, is that a drink from Fat Tuesdays? I mean,
this is it looks like a Fat Tuesday drink, but it is a generic Las Vegas drink. This is the classic Vegas. You come here, you land, Stu, you throw your stuff in the room, you come back down outside and you say, hey, I'm thirsty. I'm on Fremont Street. I need me a beverage. They say, do you want the 12 ounce, do you want 32 ounce, or do you want the hand grenade? And I said, give me a hand grenade.
Who is most likely to receive a $115 million extension by the Miami Heat?
Let me tell you something. The Williams kid for the Heat. Hey, man, I don't know if it's 115 million. That guy's pretty good. He's grown manning the hell out of everybody. He's dunking on people. I think he's got that nasty streak that Miami's been looking for. Now, can he be someone who contributes offensively meaningfully, which is what we talk about so many times? The Heat need offense? I don't know, but I know one thing. They know when to punk him out. He's going to be punking people out left and right.
A lot of deals are made and a lot of groundwork for future deals. is laid. What are you hearing? You are our front office insider. Are there any rumblings? Me as a Heat fan, I'm always hoping that there's another malcontent superstar on the horizon. Is there something a brewing?
Tell you what's a brewing. One of them, everybody knows. If you follow NBA basketball, you know Lauri Markkanen. A lot of trade chatter. Golden State's interested. A lot of other teams are interested. And Utah, for its part, does not look like it wants to be good. That's going to be a theme this year. We took a year off from teams tanking on purpose because the draft, as we know, wasn't that impressive. But Cooper Flag is the big, get. Back to the flag. That's the theme for 24-25 next season. So everyone's starting right now like, hey, I want to be bad. Detroit's like, I want to be bad. Washington's like, I want to be bad. And I believe Utah says, dude, I want to be bad because a white superstar Utah is
They want to trade a white all-star on the off chance that they can get the white superstar coming into the league. Like Lauri Markkanen's like we know who he is. That's a solid piece to build around, but you got no shot.
Flag,
you've got no shot at getting
American.
Cooper. Yeah, Cooper Flag is worthy of the hype. We've seen all the other pros talk about him on the international team. What is your main takeaway of how all these other pros are talking about him?
Well, I mean, I think that's a big deal that he went to the Team USA kind of camp. He played for USA Select. He was the only, let alone college player, he's the only high school player in the entire outfit. And again, a lot of plays from the pros, from the vets on the main team and also the select team. He was voted the best player on the select team by the players. That's a big deal for a 17-year-old. Look, is he going to be the next coming, the savior? At this point, it's hard to say. But we know one thing about the NBA. If there's a white savior out there, we're going to find him, and we're going to give him every opportunity to prove us right.
Jordan Miller, I saw in college down here in Miami, his game kind of reminded me a little bit of Paul George, and it's a lofty expectation to think he can slot in at all. But it looks like they might have a regular NBA player. Who else is impressing out there that is more of a project than someone that's just starting out in the league?
Well, I could talk about projects, but I think you guys would rather hear about the other trade rumbling. You want to hear what's happening. When I go to the Tower Suites bar at Wynn, what the NBA people are all murmuring about that hasn't really been talked about a lot in public is the Houston Rockets with their extension for Alperen Sengun. Talks have hit a stall, and there is chatter, murmuring, rumblings. Stugotz, you pick one of the ones of those words that you like there about Sengun being available. And this is a guy, if you're like, who's that? Ladies and gentlemen, last season in Houston, he took a huge step under his first year under Ime Udoka. This is a guy that had Jokic-esque moments of being a hub for the Houston Rockets offense. I think they played a lot better once they realized Jalen Green's a nice player, but your main best player is Sengun. So if he's available, like I'm hearing kind of shakings and kind of conjecture.
Shakings is not one of them.
Right.
No, shakings is conjecture.
Sue's got one for you.
I prefer scuttlebutt. Scuttlebutt.
Scuttlebutt.
Yeah.
Scuttlebutt actually is the perfect word. There's a lot of scuttlebutt that he might be available. And if he is, it'd be very interesting to see where he lands because this is a guy who can tip the balance of power wherever he lands in the NBA.
So this is a busy time in the NBA calendar. While other sports are slowing down, this is where the offseason chatter really starts ramping up. And for Oddball and your cast and crew, you've got Olympic basketball to talk about. It is a really exciting time. Team USA is going to have some competition, a lighter group for them to get out of in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited to hear your coverage all offseason. And I know Juju's a part of what you're doing there. He just made a hell of an omelet. Where's Charlotte?
Well, guys, I actually have a little bit of sad news. All the excitement and the hoopla here at Fremont Street. Charlotte was here. Unfortunately, she didn't really make it. The heat, I guess, got to her a little bit. We got a shot over here. I'm not quite sure what happened to her shorts. Guess she's just wearing that Tatum jersey. But yeah, Charlotte, gone but not forgotten.
I was always worried about her complexion in that heat. It was not going to go well for her.
I got to go back to these producers, man. Who the hell do you guys have me working with? I'm out here. It's 125 degrees. I'm wearing layers. This drink doesn't even have ice in it. It's just lukewarm. Charlotte's freaking melted in a puddle like the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah. Why are we doing this outdoors? I thought we had this whole relationship with Beeson and Circa and where it's this beautiful kind of thing where you guys did the show during the Super Bowl. Why am I outdoors doing this?
At least you have an omelet, though. I mean,
I'm such a fan of Con Air that I just wanted you stage steps away from where Cyrus the Virus was decapitated.
That is a great moment in movie history, but also you're right, Stugotz. Juju Gotti, not only a great content provider, but also a great chef. This is great breakfast right here, ladies and gentlemen.
It's amazing.
Oddball, check it out all off season long. Lots of Olympic basketball for them to cover. Rest in peace, Charlotte Wilder.
And you're getting kicked out right over your right shoulder right now.
Oh my God!
Who are you working with?
Taylor, you gotta outlaw anybody with over 3 stars of prestige.
They're also doing custom conferences too, where it's like.
But that's part of the fun. Whoa, out the gates are starting custom conferences? This is not real life. What are you doing?
We got to do a show Dynasty.
We live in a society.
I'll do a show Dynasty, but you have to have fucking rules.
Are you saying you
I'm not
can
gonna.
the SEC put in the Big Ten?
Right now, what you're saying, that zero interest in. You guys are not serious people.
Tony as LSU and like the ACC.
No.
It's like, yes, that's true.
Stop taking liberties with the sport.
You are not serious people. I can't work with this.
LSU could never be in the ACC.
No, that's what.
I mean, the Astros could never be in the American League. What are we doing?
We said that about Cal. They could never be in the ACC. And in real life, we are here.
You got to have like a respect for the forefathers that came before you. Everyone still talks about their online dynasties, and you never hear about, man, I took this ragtag group from Alabama and the Tide finally made it to the Tide. No, you don't do that. Coach Doug's becomes a phenomenon because he's doing it at the grassroots level. He did it at Toledo.
He's a forefather.
You got to do it at Toledo.
So what if we do show Dynasty?
You guys are too young. I said it. You're too young. You didn't put it in
we're all the teams in the MAC. Only MAC.
Yeah, only MACtion. I'll join that. I'll do that show, Dynasty. We start in the MAC, and if in year 3, Central Michigan gets an offer from the Big Ten, great. That's fine. You earned it, but you gotta fucking earn your prestige,
I had
guys.
the 28th pick. Nobody picked LSU. I picked LSU.
Nobody picks LSU because they're decent human beings.
No, all
pal.
the other teams were taken already.
No, you don't do that. LSU is not. You don't consider LSU. You consider Western Kentucky. That's what you do.
My second choice was Hawaii.
The Hilltoppers.
I don't know what their prestige is at. Hawaii's a fine place to start. It's hard to recruit and tons of uniform combinations.
Tough place to
you
play.
get that you get that program going. It's going to be tough to leave.
A lot of
you may
TV
get an
time. Last game of the night.
You may get an offer from the Pac-12. They're looking to expand. There are only 2 teams. They have open bars. They're looking. You can build something special
I had
out
to
of
keep
Hawaii.
up with the Joneses, Mike. That's why.
You don't. At some point, someone has to rise up above the chaos and say what needs to be said. You can't have blue chip programs.
Somebody picked Texas. Somebody picked Georgia. SC.
That person is
Miami.
They're not enjoying the game. Look, I'm going to have my Miami dynasty like everybody else, but that's not going to be publicized. That's for me. I'll start there. I know I can build Miami into a winner. I got a great recruiting base. I got the facilities.
You're literally doing it right now.
I'm doing it right now in real life. I can certainly do it in a video game. I like my chances more in a video game. That's not going to be rewarding. What's going to be rewarding to me is taking Toledo, is taking Central Michigan. Can you imagine, like, the Chippewas being the second name someone talks about when they're talking about great college football programs? Wolverines, Crimson Tide, Chippewas. That's what I want. That's where the wins are.
Do it with the Chippewas.
To have.
You're right. I'm agreeing with
you.
you.
Who picks Texas? Texas is you
who
retired.
did pick Texas? I don't know who picked Texas.
You retired.
Charles.
You can get Texas after 16
Charles
years of
picked
your
Georgia.
dynasty. You can't do that.
He did it.
You can't. Georgia State you can do. Georgia State, now that is a pearl. You're in a major city, direct flights. You get Georgia, which is up there with Florida now in terms of a hotbed of recruiting. That's fine. Georgia State, great.
What if Taylor dresses like Bear Bryant, though, for the streams?
You have to dress.
That helps.
Your coach, does your coach have your same name? Taylor, does your coach have your same name? You got to create an avatar.
Taylor's not in here.
He said no.
You got to create an avatar. My head coach is Cameron Poe, and he looks just like Cameron Poe from Con Air.
Hell yeah.
He's got. Can you imagine going into like Nevada?
Coach
you look to
Virus.
the sideline and you see like Cameron Poe with a Nevada Wolfpack visor. I'd be scared.
Taylor said he's going to buy the Bear Bryant hat.
He's gonna
because
have
he's
the
out.
houndstooth
You
hat.
earn it. You got to make your own thing, pal.
Where are you gonna find that hat? I mean,
It's just a fedora, right?
You gotta.
Houndstooth.
It's a special kind of fedora.
You can't swagger Jack Bear
You're not
Bryant,
gonna find
dude.
it. I mean, seriously.
You got to make your own hat.
Right. Anyway,
Was that post game?
You want to impress me?
I have no idea what it was.
You want to impress me? Get one of those like little like yarmulkes with the spinner on top.
Yeah. I know
Yeah,
what
that you
mean.
see on like Spanish TV and whatnot on late night variety shows. Wear that on the sidelines, and you can make that a thing. Because if you're successful, you can make anything a thing. Just ridiculous.
He should do the Al Golden.
Make
suit
me
and
take
tie.
you seriously in that hat. I like that. It's the hat from Animal House. If anyone wants to look it up.
I'm sickened by what I heard. Who would want it? 30 people too? Like, this thing is over before it gets going. You're not going to enjoy this.
Look, I'm gonna enjoy it because of the game. I'm gonna enjoy it, but I'm also gonna have my own team where I'm gonna play as Hawaii or I'm gonna play as somebody else that I'll bring them up to prominence.
I'm sad that you're enjoying it. Do it with Bowling Green. That's fun. It's not fun. It's not fun.